Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, joined in studio by Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly on the ones and twos on this Wednesday. We are broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Cory, as always, appreciate you coming in. Should be a fun show today. We'll talk some Titans, big weekend of college football coming up, and much more. Nick Frazier going to swap out for me at 11 o'clock as well. Cory, how's it going?
I'm tired, but I'm adequate. I'm adequate. By the way, big weekend on News too.
Yes,
We've got Vanderbilt at 11 a.m. and then we've got the Vols in prime time at 6:30. In really what equates to a playoff game. So we got, and then there's another good game at the 2:30 hour. I'm trying to remember which one it is. It's Georgia's cocktail party.
Right. Yeah.
Georgia,
World's
Florida,
largest cocktail party,
which we're not allowed to call it anymore.
Really?
But we do. But yeah, so it's another great lineup. Another baffling decision by CBS to get away from that.
Yeah.
Especially when I see some of the games they're putting on. But I don't make those decisions, and good for News 2.
Is this 3 straight weeks for ABC stations and News 2 with SEC the full day? I think it is.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it seems like we've had, most of the time we've had a full boat of SEC games and a full boat of ranked teams. I mean, I think Florida's our only unranked team this week.
Yeah, because Tennessee Vandy top 20 matchup, and then Tennessee Oklahoma, like you said, it's an elimination game.
Yep.
Loser is out, so we'll talk about that game coming up later on in the show as well. Wanted to start with the Titans.
Let's do it.
We started with Vandy last week, you know, so we'll get back to our usual schedule here. The Titans, the big news this week, trading away Roger McCreary, former second-round pick, getting back a late-round pick swap. They get basically their own fifth-round pick back from the Rams that they traded in the Ernest Jones trade last year.
Awesome.
And then they trade away the lowest of their 3 sixth-round picks that they have back to the Rams.
It'll be like fifth.
Right. So, yes. So they're going to move up about 60 spots in the draft, and you trade away your starting nickel cornerback. That is now 2 starting cornerbacks that you've traded away this year.
Yeah.
Neither one has gotten you a clean pick. No. Both of them have been late-round pick swaps, and now L'Jarius Sneed's on IR.
Wasn't Brownlee a 7th?
It was a 6th for a 7th, yeah. So, yes, moving up leaps and bounds.
Okay. Look, I understand the whole notion of if you're not going to re-sign those guys, but Brownlee still doesn't make any sense because
he had 2 more years on the rookie deal.
But you're trading away starters for picks that aren't supposed to be starters. Now, sometimes they are, but really those are usually special teams players, taking a flyer on a guy, depth piece, developmental guy, and this team needs starters.
Yeah.
And I know you're not going to get that kind of value for those picks. But the other thing is they didn't even get picks.
No. They still have the same amount of picks as they did when they started this.
They need players. They need lots of them. And I guess this gives you a better chance of hitting on your picks or just of having more higher disappointment in your picks, which we're used to at this point. But I think that's the most troubling thing to me is you've traded away 2 starters and gotten 0 picks out of it. 0. And I know the price is the price, but you've made these deals well before the deadline and you've gotten 0 picks. I know I'm probably wrong, but whatever.
The market is what somebody is willing to pay for a player, which
exactly right.
It is disappointing to look and say, hey, that we spent the 35th overall pick on Roger McCreary 3 years ago. Why can't we at least get a clean 4th or 5th back for him? But
6th.
You're
6th.
You're trading Roger McCreary or it's 8 weeks of Roger McCreary plus the playoffs, or 10 weeks, whatever it is. And teams just aren't willing to pay all that much at the trade deadline unless they're getting an elite player back. And a lot of times those guys aren't available at the trade deadline.
But are these guys playing? I mean, Roger McCreary's going to play.
Right.
Jarvis Brownlee's starting.
Yes, he is.
So, I mean, they're getting starters.
The McCreary one I can live with because, again, it's like the market's the market. I do wonder, and I said this yesterday, I wonder why you don't wait a little bit longer and see if someone gets desperate and gives you a clean pick back. But whatever.
I mean, I guess their notion and their conversations was this was absolutely the best they were going to do.
And
I mean, you don't know what's going to happen this weekend, though. Yeah. Somebody has somebody go down. And
Right.
all of a sudden they're like, oh, we got to have
We
somebody.
have to have
Do you
Roger
have a DB with
McCreary.
short arms? All right, we'll take him.
And they clearly did not value him as a long-term piece here.
No.
They're not going to pay him $10+ million a year to be their starting nickelback.
If you think he's going to get that much. I mean,
I saw his valuation, which is not always accurate online, was $14 million.
Yeah.
Which I would say it's probably more in the 10 to 12 range.
Yeah,
but
I'd say 8 to 12.
But either way, clearly you don't extend him before the season. There was never any notion that they were trying to extend him. They clearly didn't value him as a long-term piece here. You got what you could.
My thing is if you're signing a Roger McCreary in free agency, you're getting a durable guy, a dependable guy, a guy who's not going to rock the boat. I mean, he's got a lot of checks in the good column. Is he a dynamic player? No, he's not. All right. But when you put him out there, you're like, oh crap, how are we going to get through this one? No. And we've seen a lot of that.
That's like half the Titans team.
Yeah. I mean, for the last 3 years.
I think it was Mike Herndon on Twitter put out there when the Titans traded him. It's like the Titans overvalue Roger McCreary just because he is not a bad player.
There's probably some truth to that.
Right.
I mean, there's so many holes on this team. Like right now, I mean, if I told you 2 months ago, you'd be like, gosh, I hope they don't trade Draymond Jones. Because, I mean, who else are they going to put out there?
Yeah.
Who else are they going to put out there? Now, he's probably got value.
He's got 3 sacks in the last 3 weeks.
You might actually be able to get a pick for him.
Him and Arden Key, I would guess one of them will be gone. You probably can't trade both without running.
Oh, no, they could trade them both. Trust me. I mean, if they could get a couple 7-round pick swaps, they could both be gone.
There you go. Yeah. We'll trade you our 7th to move up 2 spots to your 7th.
Whichever 7th is
higher.
7th is higher. Ours is higher, we'll keep it.
And you can just have Draymond Jones. The Jarvis Brownlee Jr. one is the one that will never make sense.
No.
It's a talented young player who you picked in the 5th round, and he has turned into a starting level cornerback.
But why did you have to jettison him?
Right, for nothing.
But why? Couldn't you just inactivate him on game day until you can work a trade where you actually get something for him?
And the Titans clearly just did not want him in that locker room anymore. And
he had to go.
The quote came out yesterday on a Jets podcast where I guess Jarvis Brownlee was packing up his stuff in the locker, getting ready to talk to media.
Big win over the Bengals.
He made the final play to win the game against the Bengals.
Yep.
And he asked the reporters, what time is it? And they said 4:57. And he goes, great, I still have time to go watch the Titans lose.
Yeah.
So if there was any doubt that there was some hard feelings between Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and the Titans, that's now confirmed.
If you saw Jarvis after the trade was made, you knew there were hard feelings, except then he was just depressed.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, it was emotional for him. It's emotional for any of us when we're told for the first time, we don't want you.
Yeah.
You're not good enough, whether it's a girlfriend or a job or a school or whatever. The first time somebody looks at you, says, get out. No, don't want you around here. It stings. So it stings. And I get that it's going to sting, but many are talking like, aha, Jarvis gets the last laugh. The Jets stink.
They are still 1-7, just like
the Jets stink. They won just like the Titans did with a 4th quarter miracle. And by the way, I know he made the play on the last play of the game. They gave up 38 points to Joe Flacco. It's not like Jarvis and company locked it down for the day and got it done.
Right.
All right. He made a play, which I'm stunned he didn't get flagged for illegal contact or holding or pass interference. Okay. I'm not saying he did, but he did a lot of it here. Okay. And so, yes, he made a play. He gets to gloat for the day. That's great. They might win one more game or 2 this year.
Yep.
Maybe. So enjoy that, because you can pound your chest that we went 3-14 while the Titans went 1-16, and good for you. It's like Sean Payton with the Russell Wilson thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a Russell Wilson fan, but you're an adult. Move on.
It takes a lot to make Russell Wilson look like the good guy, right? Like no one, I say this, not trying to go after him, but like no one likes Russell Wilson. That dude he's corny.
He's fake. He's fake.
And he's a little bit egotistical, even though he hasn't played very well for the last 5 years.
A little bit.
Mr. Unlimited. Yeah, he is not a very likable person.
No.
And Sean Payton going after him for absolutely no reason made Russell Wilson look good.
Look, you'd already won that war.
Yeah.
And that's like holding your Super Bowl parade like a year after it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we won it in 2024 and I know it's 2025, but we're doing this thing again.
Yeah.
Because we just want to rub salt in the wounds. And so, there are ways. I mean, look at Roger McCreary. He puts out a thank you letter. I mean, to the wrong
couple typos in there.
Wrong family.
Wrong.
That's okay.
Team name was spelled wrong too.
Did he really?
He had an extra I in there. It said Titans.
Titans. You know what? I like Roger, and intent means more than anything, and the intention was good.
To be classy.
Yes.
Put out a statement. Yep.
And that's the way an adult acts.
Yep.
And I'm sure, I don't know if Roger McCreary thought of this or not. That makes his contract's up. That makes you more marketable. Okay.
Correct.
That makes you more marketable. And being an adult is never a bad thing. Yes, we need dogs. Yeah, absolutely. But we also need adults in this world.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, every NFL team will take a guy that they can count on over a guy who's a dog. Agreed.
And Roger McCreary, I think, has shown nothing less than that he is somebody that you can count on when he has been here in Nashville. He's going to be with the Los Angeles Rams moving forward. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. with the Jets. L'Jarius Sneed on IR, which leaves this cornerback room looking very practice squad-ish. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you have thoughts, you can text or call. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Denard Wilson made some comments about the Titans cornerback room yesterday. And yeah, I can't say I blame him based on what he's left with. We'll talk about the thin Titans cornerback room coming up next. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly with you on this Wednesday. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. That was Denard Wilson yesterday talking about the depleted cornerback room that he has with star names like Jalen Armour-Davis and Samuel Womack and Darrell Baker, Marcus Harris.
I like Darrell. Darrell's a good guy.
I mean, you got 3 waiver claims, a practice squad steal, and a 6th-round rookie. That is your cornerback room right now.
Not a lot of investment there.
No, there is not. L'Jarius Sneed, guy you traded for, signed to a big extension, gone. 2nd-round pick, Roger McCreary, gone. 5th-round pick, Jarvis Brownlee, gone.
By the way, they did have what was the kid's name last year from Cincinnati, the corner?
I'm blanking on.
I can't remember.
Awuzie.
Oh yeah, Chidobe Awuzie. Yeah.
Who is starting for who now?
The Ravens.
The Ravens.
Yes, the Ravens. Yeah.
Somehow he stays healthy for them.
It is. That was one of the stranger moves of the offseason. Of what I understand, Chidobe wasn't great.
Oh, I knew he was gone.
But it's a body in that room that especially with all of the confusion around L'Jarius Sneed on and off the field.
Yeah, but he was old and his physical ability was unreliable. I mean, because it wasn't just here he got hurt. He'd been hurt the last couple of years in Cincinnati.
Right.
And so you couldn't pay him again. You couldn't have another year of him and Sneed both watching from the sideline, making $25 million a year, and so and you were able to get out of that deal.
Yeah,
I knew he was gone. You just would hope they used the money to bring in another starter, which they did not.
Yep,
they did not.
And now you have holes at 1, 2, and 3 at cornerback.
Look, they to be realistic, you had to come in to this season with like two subset starters at corner, because you couldn't rely on, if you were relying on Sneed to be healthy this year, you were crazy. Yeah. We were putting the over under on games on him at 4. All right, so he already got the over.
He did. He played 7.
And does anyone? And I'm not trying to bash on the guy, but I'm just being realistic. Does anyone expect him to play another game this year?
No, I think we have seen the last snap of L'Jarius.
That's the expectation. And if he comes back, great. How many games will it be for? 1 or 2?
Yeah, he's got to miss at least 3 more games.
And I guess I also could be salty from talking to him. He's just given us so little.
Yeah.
That you just don't know how much he cares. And I know the coaches say, "Oh, he cares. He works hard." Well, we don't have a lot of evidence, because we don't get to see a lot of it. And everything that we've seen and we've heard, I don't know how important it is.
Yeah. And you see the not just physical mistakes like he had against the Patriots where he gets burned by Booty and ends up being a touchdown. And that wasn't completely on him. The safeties, I don't think, played that very well either. But like the play against the Texans on 2nd and 33, that cannot happen as a veteran in this league. That is a rookie mistake.
No, look, he hasn't been a good player for them. And he was supposed to be a great player for them.
Yep.
I mean, it's been a crushing blow. But Denard Wilson, yeah, if I'm him, and I know you got to be a good soldier.
Yeah.
And I know you got to coach the guys. But, if I start a fight and they say, "Oh, ho, come back here," and they tie my right arm behind my back,
yeah,
I'm going to be like, "What am I doing? What are we talking about here? Wait, I got to fight that guy? And I got to do it with one arm?" I mean, this is his resume. And he's got to go out there. He's out of a job after this season.
Yeah.
And he knows it. And now you're asking him to go out there and do it with this? It's different from Mike McCoy. Mike McCoy is grateful for the opportunity. Denard Wilson came here to coach an NFL defense.
Yeah.
Not a garage sale. And that's what they're at the Goodwill truck. All right. And they're pulling off shirts and they're getting dressed to go into dinner. All right.
Not that we know every single position group in the NFL, but I think it's fair to say the Titans cornerbacks is the worst position group in the NFL.
Take your pick.
It could only be rivaled by the edge group if you trade Draymond Jones and Arden Key at the deadline, because you might start running.
If you traded Draymond Jones, imagine if they hadn't signed Draymond Jones and Jihad Ward.
Now, see, I've got an idea, and we heard from forget who it was. It might have been Mike McCoy, that Xavier Restrepo plays some DB in practice squad. Maybe that's the plan. We're going to catch the strep on defense.
Troy Brown, former New England Patriot.
Yeah.
He did it.
Julian Edelman played some defense
Well,
when he first came into the league too.
Restrepo would be a perfect replacement for Roger.
There you go.
Short with short arms.
Yep. Not a ton of athletic traits. There we go. Xavier Restrepo, you're the starting nickel this week. Get in there.
He's thick. He can be physical. Yeah.
I think honestly, I'm saying that tongue in cheek and almost certainly joking, but like, could Xavier Restrepo be a better option than some of the options they've got out there? I don't really know. It's bad over in that cornerback room.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you can even consider this team being close in games when that's the cornerback group.
Well, look, okay.
Jalen Armour-Davis is your cornerback one, and he has been horrible this year.
Yes. He passed up Darryl.
I mean, when it was Snead out there, Jalen Armour-Davis was the one playing opposite him.
I'll take Darryl.
I would too.
You're probably right, but
at least based on the usage, Jalen Armour-Davis has been there.
Yeah, and Darryl's concussed, so we don't know if he'll play this week. But look, it's terrible. They do have the one victory this season, but all the other games that they've lost have all been by at least 8 points.
Yes,
which tells you they're not competitive. They're not competitive, and they weren't competitive for 3 quarters. And by competitive, I mean competitive on the scoreboard, because I do think they try hard.
Right.
Do play hard.
But you're not in games.
No.
And that Cardinals game should have been 28-6 early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Guy doesn't drop the ball.
It's been horrible. And
it's not going to get better.
You are right. I looked, there's a Twitter account that put out what if standings in the NFL and flipped all of the 1-score games and said, what would your record be? The Titans would still be 1-7.
No, well, the Broncos is technically a 1-score
game.
But
they'd flip the Cardinals game too. So the Cardinals would win that one, and the Titans would win the Broncos game. So they'd be 1-7.
Okay, I got you.
Guess what the Jets would be?
I don't know, 3-4,
6-2, or 6-1.
Yeah,
something like that. So the Jets are one of the teams that you are tied with for the worst record in the NFL. They've been competitive.
Yeah. And the Jets could be a lot like, I hate to compare them to the Colts because the Colts had pieces. I mean, we knew the Colts had an offensive line. We knew they had
a great
Taylor
running back
and Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
We knew they had this stuff. But if the Jets could just get some competent quarterback play, how many games would they win?
More than they have.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor, he hasn't been good when he's been in there, but I think he can't be worse than Justin Fields, right?
I mean, We've seen Tyron for a decade now.
Yeah.
I mean, he is what it is. It's like Jacoby Brissett. These guys come in once in a while, they flash and they give you a good game. You go, oh, well, we could roll with that guy. And then reality sets in.
Yeah. That
they're not starters. And that's why they're not starters. Because believe me, if you can start, you're going to find your way on the field.
Right.
And Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are perfect examples of that. They bounced around. And once they got their opportunity, and they kept getting opportunities, and once that clicked, they were the starter.
It's good for the Titans that the Jets and the Saints have been competitive in their games because it looks more likely that they're going to win another game. I don't know if I would pick the Titans to win another game this year.
No.
And then the Jets and Saints have to come up and trade with you to get the number 1 pick.
Now the only thing about the Saints is they've turned to the rookie quarterback.
They have Tyler Shuck going to start this week.
They are making a commitment towards losing. I mean, they are trying their best. I'm not a Spencer Rattler guy, but I'm confident his level of play is going to be better than what Tyler Shuck's is going to be. And so they're not the only team, though. I mean, the Browns are also on this suck wagon. Okay. And then there's another team that we haven't talked about. Pull up the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Look at their schedule. Find me the win the rest of the way.
We were talking about coaches who could be fired. And I think the one that nobody's really talking about enough is Jonathan Gannon. I think he's gone. He's gone.
He's gone. I mean, they're 2-5. They could very well go 2-15. Look at their schedule. They could go 2-15. I'm not saying they will. I mean, they could very well go 4-13, have a great year. But there's not a lot of wins. It is so amazing when, look at the Patriots schedule.
It's
in
their cakewalk.
Yes, in their path to, what are they, 6-2?
They're 6-2, yeah. And they have the tiebreak. They have the head start on the tiebreaker with the Bills.
And I'm not saying they don't deserve to be 6-2. but the schedule has been favorable to Vrabes and company. Okay,
Yeah,
they have not racked up the impressive wins. They got the Buffalo win, but the other 5, there's not a lot of meat on that bone.
Yeah, the Cardinals, the only games I see that I look at and say, yeah, they could win that one. Falcons, who have shown that they're uncompetitive against some bad teams sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the Bengals, who knows if Joe Burrow is back at that point in week 17.
Do you think the Cardinals will be favored in either of those games? I do not.
No, I don't think so.
So I think they will be an underdog the rest of the way. And like I said, they might win 1 or 2 more, but they're definitely going to be in double-digit defeats, like well into it. And we were talking about this before. The haves and have-nots.
The spread is just.
I have never seen in 50 years or 40 plus years of watching the NFL this many teams that are just in the dumpster fire.
Yeah.
I mean, we always have 1, 2, or 3 teams that are a dumpster fire for usually the quarterback reason, but we're like 6, 7 teams deep in the dumpster fire this year.
There's even bad teams in the NFL. Usually it's like, oh, they played with them for 2.5 quarters, and they're blowouts. The Titans,
I mean, the Raiders stink.
Yeah, there was one score game this week in the NFL, which does not happen in the NFL. It's meant to be competitive, meant for parity.
You know how bad the Raiders are? They signed Tyler Lockett.
Yes, they did.
They ate the Titans' garbage. They went into the trash can and said, "I'll eat that." Yes.
We went through it yesterday or Monday too. Titans, their negative 120 point differential through 8 games. They are on track to have the 6th worst point differential in NFL history.
Jake, my mom always told me consistency is the mark of a champion.
Yep.
So there's that.
They're losing by 15 points a game.
Consistent. Well, when you're the lowest scoring team in the league, that's what happens.
That is true. And the Titans, you want that number 1 pick so you can see if somebody will come up and trade with you.
Well, that's the nice thing about having so many teams who stink is if you are picking first, they're all going to want that quarterback.
Right.
And they'll be fighting each other to get there. And so you can trade back into the first 5 picks and get more picks.
Yes.
And, that was kind of the thing with the Giants pick last year that you could trade back. What was it, to 3?
2 spots. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're still picking third and getting more picks.
Right.
And that's what made that trade so attractive.
Yeah, we don't know what quarterbacks are going to be at the top of the draft yet.
There's going to be some.
At this point last year, Shedeur Sanders was being considered the number 1 overall pick. So you don't know what is all going to sort out. But let's say that it's you, the Jets, the Saints, and the Saints want to leapfrog the Jets.
Yeah.
They'll pay a decent amount to come up and get whoever it is. And maybe you still get Ruben Bain at number 3. That would be phenomenal for the Titans.
Look, the Raiders could be in that quarterback market as well. The Dolphins could be in the quarterback market. The Giants. Well, no, not Giants. They've got Jackson Dart now. They're probably good with that.
We don't know.
No, I mean, but probably
still 10 games to go.
Yeah, they're probably good for another year at least. But I mean, look, there are going to be teams in that quarterback market.
Yeah,
they're just.
The Saints starting Tyler Shuck means that we get another quarterback for fans to call in and say is better than Cam Ward after he has an okay game this week. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to text or call our phone lines.
He is not having an okay game this week. They're playing the Rams in his first NFL start.
Roger McCreary will have a pick 6 in that game.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, if you're the Saints, this is how you welcome this kid. This is the best pass rush in the NFL, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Go get him, kid.
Yep.
We believe in you. You got it.
Watch out for Verse. He's pretty good. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. You can text or call. The MTSU Blue Raiders will take on Jacksonville State tonight at 6:30. Catch all of the action on Totally Hits 93.3 with coverage also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at totallyhitsnashville.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, the turning point of Sunday's game for the Titans was the 4th and 3 early in the third quarter. Not saying they would have won the game, but it went from a 10-point game to being over in the span of about 2 plays. We'll talk about that coming up next. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you on this
that's 70s.
Wednesday.
That's not 80s.
We've kind of gone
Bee Gees.
throwback here.
This is an 80s playlist on YouTube.
Is it really?
Yeah.
When did Staying Alive? Okay, well, Saturday Night Fever came out probably in the 70s, and Staying Alive, which was the sequel, probably came out around 1980.
1977.
Which one?
Staying Alive.
Okay. All right.
So you're good call, Cory. That's
see, because I'm the person who was old enough to be alive during this. I remember going to the drive-in and seeing Saturday Night Fever.
right.
All right. And I say the drive-in. We went to the drive-in to see Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
It says 1979 is when the song. So
I just
right
saw
on the cusp.
Maybe the
Right
AI
on
on,
the cusp.
Google wasn't working for me. But anyway, it's throwback Wednesday.
It's close enough.
Close enough, yeah.
We give Parker some leeway back there.
Most importantly, did you like the song?
Oh,
that's the most important thing.
You know, I've never been like a Bee Gees guy,
Yeah.
but I don't hate them.
I'll cross it off the list. That's not good enough.
They're unique. You know who you can put on the list? You can put Blondie on the list.
Blondie. Okay.
Yeah. I think you might have gotten some of that a few weeks ago. But yeah.
There's a few good ones there.
We've got time for Parker to get to that today for sure.
They came in right at the end of the disco era.
Okay.
Into pop. And so yeah, they were like 1980.
Gotcha.
And yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see if Parker can get some of that queued up for the rest of the show. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. The Titans on Sunday, you're down 17-7 at halftime.
Yep.
You did miss a field goal heading into the half as well.
58-yarder.
Yeah, not a chip shot for Joey Sly. But you get a big play to Chigakonkwo to start off the second half. You're across midfield. You get to 3rd and 3. You run the ball.
You don't get
nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the 42-yard line, and Mike McCoy sends out the punt unit.
Yep.
And you could read Cam Ward's lips of, Mike, what are we doing? Go for it.
Well, that's what probably Mike's been saying all season watching the offense play. So, Cam can get in line there.
That is a good point. They punted away. Johnny Hecker can't keep it from going into the end zone.
It's a terrible punt.
Yep. Goes.
And he's a Hall of Fame punter. It's a terrible punt.
Hit over 1,000 punts now in his career.
Yeah.
It feels like half of them have come this year. But bring it out to the 20. One play later, Jonathan Taylor able to tiptoe down the sideline.
And a horrendous
He's
effort.
in the end zone. Xavier Woods, Amani Hooker both had chances to knock him out of bounds and couldn't. And the game's basically over at that point. You're down 24-7. And I just don't understand the inability to be aggressive from this team of just, hey, I get you don't want to completely just go all the way to the wall and say, we're 1-6. We're just going to do whatever. We'll go for it. We'll fake punts. We'll do onside kicks, whatever. But in that situation, I think most teams would go for it there, especially a team that is 1-6, already fired the head coach. You're down by 10 on the road against the best team in the NFL by record. Go for it. It made absolutely no sense to punt that ball.
Okay. Most modern coaches, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Shane Steichen,
Dan Campbell.
Yeah, well, he goes for everything. But most of these younger coaches, yeah, they're all going to go. Analytics say to go, so they're going to go. When you get, and Mike McCoy's not that old.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying this to be disparaging. He looks a little older than he is. He's only like 53. All right, he's younger than I am.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, look back at his pictures with the Chargers. He doesn't have the full gray hair.
Yeah. But
that job might have aged him.
He's coaching an old school mentality of okay, we'll punt and we'll play defense and we'll get the ball back at midfield and we'll dial it back up again. And so most of the older coaches that are left in the league are probably gonna lean towards that. Or if you've got a really strong defense, well, the Titans don't have a really strong defense.
No, they do not.
So that's the flaw number one. But again, I understand his mentality in doing it. Okay. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I understand this is the way he's thought it for 40 years.
Yeah.
Okay. This is how you play in the NFL. Okay. So you got to understand that, number one. Number two, he has been here for 8 games. He has watched this offense for 8 games, and he knows there is not one single play in that playbook that he can count on to say, this is going to work. All right. Mike Mularkey, Love Mike Mularkey as coach. People could disparage him all they want. He was a great head coach for this football team. He had plays that he knew would work. Knew it. He had one play he called to Marcus Mariota. He said, Marcus, you're going to do this. You're going to score a touchdown. So go run it. I'll see you in the end zone. We'll high five when you get back over here. And he scored a touchdown, and they high fived when he came back over to the sideline.
Yep.
I mean, he knew what they had, and he knew what was going to work. All right. And I don't think Mike McCoy or this offensive staff has any play in their pocket that they pull out and go, all right, this is good for 4. All right. In the most dire situation, we can pull this one out, and this will be executed for 4 yards.
Yep.
They don't have that. If they did, it's an easy decision. All right. And again, I'm not saying they should have gone for it. I'm just saying what's going on in his brain that makes him not go for it. All right. And just there's been no consistency at all on offense. And then he's also got a Hall of Fame punter who he thinks is going to pin him inside the 10. And it's a terrible punt, and they get the ball to 20, and it's a 20-yard exchange. It's nothing went right. Nothing went right in that exchange. You can blame Mike McCoy all you want for it. The punter didn't execute, and the defense didn't execute. Nobody backed him up.
Yeah.
Nobody backed him up. Now, you can say, well, he didn't back up his offense. That's fine. But nobody backed him up on his decision either.
And we talked about it during the break. The decision after running it on 3rd and 3 makes less sense, too.
I didn't get to that.
Like, it's 3rd and 3. It makes sense to run it if you think it's 4 down territory.
If you run it, if you're saying you're basically declaring when you run it on 3rd down, we're going. Unless you lost like 3 yards.
Yes.
All right. But they got 0, and you're prepared for 0. So, that to me tells me, hey, we're going on 4th down.
Yep.
To me, that was the most egregious thing.
I agree.
If you weren't going on 4th down, why didn't you throw it?
Yeah. 3rd and 3 in that spot. Yeah, I like the call to run the football because it puts you in a position where, let's say you get 2 yards and it's 4th and 1. Maybe you're in QB sneak territory at that point. If you don't get anything, you're still 4th and short, and you have a chance the playbook's completely open. But then you just run the offense off the field.
I think the problem there is the head coach and the offensive coordinator, or the play caller in this case, not the offensive coordinator, the play caller, they weren't set on what their plan was for 4th down going into 3rd down.
Yeah.
And I think in that situation, you have to know what we're doing on 4th down.
Well, that's the same situation we talked about in the first Colts game where Brian Callahan couldn't make a decision on whether to kick or whether to go for it at the end of the half. And that's a decision that should be made before 3rd down, not after you don't get it on 3rd down.
Yes, I completely agree. You've got to coach plays in advance.
Yeah.
And that's part of the job. And it's part of the reason the head coach in a lot of places doesn't call plays.
Right.
Because he's playing steps ahead.
Right. That should be something that McCoy, ahead of the 3rd down call, is talking to Bo Hardegree and says, hey, we're going here or we're not going here.
Yes.
Like,
you got 2 plays to get this.
Right.
You got 1 play to get this.
Yep.
Because I'll guarantee you, if you said you got 1 play to get this,
he wouldn't have called that.
No, he wouldn't have. And that's why I think those 2 guys may have been on 2 different pages.
Right.
But they can't be.
No.
They can't be. They got to be on the same page. And maybe they were, but look, nobody thinks that makes sense.
Yes. If they were on the same page, then that's not the page they should have been on.
They need a different page.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. You can text or call. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll wrap up hour number 1 after this, talking Titans. College football talk coming up at the top of the hour. Vols in a pseudo playoff game, elimination game against Oklahoma this weekend.
There's nothing pseudo about it.
Well, it is not technically a playoff
One
game.
of these teams is done.
Right. One of these teams gets to move on to next week with their playoff hopes still alive. The other one can start getting ready for the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Vanderbilt taking on Texas this weekend. Not a playoff game, but a big one for the Commodores if they're going to get to the college football
playoff game for Texas.
It is for Texas.
Yeah.
615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 1025 The Game. That was Mike McCoy on Monday talking about the decision to punt it on 4th and 3 from the Indianapolis 42 early in the third quarter. The first play from scrimmage for the Colts goes 80 yards for a touchdown, and you're down 17 points. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up. There's Bloody for you.
Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
Rock and roll legend.
I always love the music on Wednesdays. Parker does a nice job back there.
Spinning the hits.
Yes, he does. We talked about the decision there, and
that's exactly what I said.
Mike McCoy talks through it there. We want to pin him deep and trust our defense. And he says the defense had done a nice job.
Well, they did at the end of the second quarter. They did.
They were on track to give up 34 points, which is like
but
again,
they'd gotten you stops. But again, you can't count on that.
Yeah.
You got, I don't want to say you got lucky. You got through it. All right. You got through it. That doesn't mean it's going to keep happening. I enjoy his accountability.
Yeah.
I enjoy
he
his
said he
his
would go back
humility
and he would go for
and
it.
say, yep, I blew it. That's on me, which is a much better answer than lying and saying, well, I mean, just yeah, you know what? I should have gone for it and I didn't.
Yeah. I do like Mike McCoy.
Boom, end of story.
He's pretty straight up with you, and he's not going to beat around the bush at all. And
I mean, look, he's not going to be the coach next year. I like him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind Mike McCoy.
No.
I really, really hope that he's not in consideration for the next head coach.
He's not going to.
He might get an interview.
He might, but he's not going to get the job.
Right. And we've seen it through 2 weeks that things have not gotten enough better.
They've got a new stadium to open.
Yeah. You need something to excite the fan base.
They have got, I don't want to say hit a home run. They've got to have credibility behind this hire. All right. They've got to give fans a reason to go, all right, it could get better. It really could. And whether that's Mike McCoy, not Mike McCoy, Mike McCarthy, Marcus Freeman,
Arthur Smith. I think that would at least get the fan base.
Do you think I like Art a lot, but I don't know that he excites the fan base.
I think he would, because the last time we saw this offense be competent was with him here.
Yeah, you also had Derrick Henry.
They were competent in 2021 too, but the best offense that Titans fans have seen in a very long time was under Arthur Smith.
And they had Derrick Henry, and they had A.J. Brown, and they had Corey Davis, and they had an offensive line that could get it done. I mean, they had players. And again, I like Arthur Smith a lot. I mean, I've known Art a long time, but I don't know that excites people.
I think Art would excite people more than a Matt Nagy would.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I agree with that.
But yes, I agree. I think Mike McCarthy would be up there. The one guy that I think everybody has moved on from, because it's probably not going to happen, but the one guy who would excite the fan base the most is John Gruden.
Oh.
And it's not going to happen.
The NFL's not.
The NFL, I don't think, would let it happen, and I don't think that's something that Amy would want. I don't know.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't want any more negative attention.
Right.
I'm sure she's had her fill of it.
There's too much baggage with that.
Yes.
Which is also why I don't think Brian Flores would be a fit here either.
It's a tough one.
It's you just don't want the extra stuff that comes with it.
We talk about Art, but I mean, another former Titans coach who's a good coach and who has won in the NFL is Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about Jim Schwartz. He's still got a house in Brentwood. All right. And he is a high voltage guy, and he turned an 0-16 team into a playoff team. Okay. And every team he goes to, their defense is pretty darn good.
I could get behind Jim Schwartz.
If I could get like a Jim Schwartz, Arthur Smith marriage, I'd be all about it.
That'd be great.
I'd be all about it.
The Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel marriage has been brought up a lot. I don't know how realistic that is. I think Robert Saleh wants to go to a.
What about Sark has made it known he's interested.
What a disaster
By the way, for Texas, how does that look?
Well, it's funny because I saw Deanna Rossini went on, I think it was on the Dan Le Batard show yesterday, and was asked about that report. And she goes, "We didn't talk to any NFL teams, and that didn't come from Sark or his agents." I'm like, then where are you getting it from?
Yeah.
Well, because his agents came out and denied the report like an hour later.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you didn't talk to any NFL teams
and you didn't
talk to Sark, how can you report that Sark is interested in NFL jobs?
If it's not from Sark and it's not from his agent, what did his wife tell you?
Right.
I mean,
his mom,
his quarterback.
I don't know.
Did Arch call you?
Did Arch say, "Hey, Sark was talking about moving to Nashville the other week"?
Did Cooper call you and say, "Oh, we gotta get rid of this Sark guy"? Tell everybody he wants to go to the NFL.
2527 actually pretty much right as we started talking about Jim Schwartz sent us a graphic of head coach candidate Jim Schwartz. So maybe I think that could get the fan base excited.
Look, he's a lot like Vrabel in that he is an alpha personality. He is a high voltage, no nonsense guy, but a lot more polite.
I think Schwartz would be a good hire, but he would have to tell you who his offensive coordinator is going to be. And
no matter who you use your coach, you've got to have an offensive roadmap.
Right. You have to be able to tell, Amy, Chad, Mike, yes, I'm a defensive coach. I'm going to go be a leader of men, and I'm going to set a culture in this locker room. Here's who's going to develop Cam Ward.
Yeah.
And here's why I trust him to do that.
Yep.
But I don't think that's a bad idea. 615-737-1025.
What if the Browns get fired, all right, and you bring in Schwartz as the head coach and Stefanski as his OC?
I love it.
But Stefanski's probably going to be a head coach again.
Yes, I think he'll have plenty of offers if he got let go. That's been the discussion around Virginia Tech football is if they hire James Franklin, does he bring Brent Pry back as his defensive coordinator? Because he was under him at Penn State. So, I don't think that would actually work out. But Kevin Stefanski would be another option. I think he'd probably have better offers out there if he's let go by the Browns.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in coaching jail for a long time. And I think he's made money. So I would think you would be selective in your next job.
Yes.
But who knows?
After coming, the same discussion for Stefanski and Saleh, like they're coming out of dysfunctional organizations. Yeah. Do they want to sign up for another one?
Yeah.
I don't think so. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take your texts and calls on our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Coming up next, we transition over to college football. Vols and Sooners on Saturday night in Neyland Stadium, Tennessee, Oklahoma. Both teams with 2 losses this season. Both need a win to keep their playoff hopes alive. We'll talk some Vandy football. Commodores heading down to Austin to take on Texas. Will Arch Manning play? That is a big question heading towards that game as well. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Second hour, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Going to talk some college football here. Teron Davenport has been walking around. We might be joined by him for a second.
I tried to rope him in.
Yeah, we'll see. He's out there somewhere. Vols and Sooners on Saturday. This is a game.
It's a scary game.
I mean, it is. You said it is a playoff game. The winner of this game gets to keep their playoff hopes alive heading into the next week.
It's a resume builder too,
right? It puts you in that cluster of teams that can win 10 games, and the Vols, they need a win. You're at home against a team that's struggled lately. Oklahoma losses to Texas and Ole Miss over the last couple of weeks. Going to be a huge game. We are joined in studio now by Teron Davenport. TD.
What's up?
Walking around the studio, we were like, we can't help but invite him in here. What's up,
listen,
TD?
That's an invitation I can't deny. I'm
right.
Two of my guys.
We love having TD on the show.
Yeah.
Are you coming in tomorrow? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay.
I'll be here. I had to come in today. We're working on a little project real quick. So.
Love it. Well,
it's kind of a big deal.
Yes, I will not be in tomorrow, but you can listen in 9 to noon.
Yeah.
TD will be on. So you don't miss out on your weekly dose of TD. I guess let's start with the cornerback room, TD. Wanted to get your thoughts on that. Roger McCreary traded out on Monday, and you're already without Jarvis Brownlee, who likes to watch the Titans lose based on his comments this weekend.
It's got to be Marcus Harris, right? I mean, this is just been, hey, we're going to watch Marcus Harris.
Yeah, Marcus Harris is definitely going to get burned. I don't know if it's going to be as a nickel or on the outside, because that's what I asked him, because if you look at Marcus Harris and his skill set, it's suitable for a nickel. Like, he has the speed to carry a guy vertically. He's tough enough to be somewhat of a presence against the run, but then you got to remember what Denard Wilson said about Roger McCreary. When I asked him why Raj isn't getting as many snaps, he was like, well, he's a smaller guy playing in the box.
Yeah.
Harris is even smaller.
Well, but they bring in Quandre Diggs to play in the box, and he's not Andre the Giant.
Yeah, but you know what?
He's tough.
Quandre is a different. He's different.
Yeah,
that's no slight on Marcus Harris.
He's got a head like a rock, and he's a more physical player.
A heart like Ryan,
but we're just, when you're looking at actual physical size. Yeah.
But I mean, look, Kevin Winston, you're going to.
I was about to say,
man, I love watching that dude.
Well, I think he's going to be a baller.
Yeah. And in fact, if you go back and you look at the sack that McCreary had, he had the pressure coming off of the defense's left side, the offense's right side, and McCreary had the blitz, and he kind of. That's why the quarterback couldn't get away. Yeah, because he, flushed him over to him. So they have a blitz package for him.
There are certain guys who I've watched. I remember watching. I watched Tyrod Taylor when he was in high school. When he was the quarterback of the Hampton Crabbers, and when he played, he was one of those guys where it didn't look like his feet touched the ground when he ran. Yeah, and that's when I watched Kevin Winston. He's kind of one of those guys where he just glides across the surface.
He's a very good looking athlete.
Yeah,
he plays with a degree of physicality, and I asked him about it after the game because I was curious, and he said, like Cedric Gray this year, he said things slowed down for him from that first game where he played 3 snaps to the last game where he played 20.
Yeah. So I always say, if you're a Titans fan, you need to change your expectations for what you're watching.
Shift the paradigm.
Yeah, you don't watch for wins or losses, because you're only setting yourself up for disappointment.
A lot of it.
Watch the game for building blocks.
Yeah.
Is Cam Ward the guy? Is Kevin Winston a dude? All right. Is Jim Dike or Alec Iman? Are they starting receivers in the NFL for the next 10 years? Yeah. I'm watching. It's like watching the preseason. But it's just an extended version.
Yeah.
That's a way to survive this year and possibly next.
And funny thing you said that, because Kevin Winston, that's what he said. This is the preseason, his preseason game. So it's interesting.
I mean, if you're dwelling on the scores of these games, it's not going to be a very fun couple of months for you to wrap up this season. So we'll see how things work out. I think maybe a reason you trade Roger McCreary, of course, they weren't planning on extending him. Best offer on the table, you kind of got to take it. but is to get Kevin Winston on the field more as he continues to develop, and you can kind of see what you've got heading into next season.
Yeah, I think that's a part of it, to see what you have heading into next season. I think you also, but it's kind of like a jumbo shrimp. In other words, like an oxymoron, right? Because you got, like, if I'm Denard Wilson.
Oh yeah, we just talked about this.
For a job, like,
yeah,
I want to either stay here. I want to. Yeah. So
he's got one hand tied behind his back.
Don't sit here and tell me that you're getting rid of one of them, weakening my secondary. Yep. So you could evaluate for the next guy to come in.
Yes, who's going to take this job from me?
You know, absolutely. So it's a whole part of everything not being like cohesive, not being collaborated.
Yes,
like it's supposed to be.
To Winston, do you think he could be the nickel, even though he's a safety? Do you think he could take? No,
it's situationally.
Okay,
yes. Like if you're going against
matchup wise,
matchup wise, to have a move like a team. If you're going against the Rams, okay, yeah, I would, use him against a guy like Puka, against Tyler Higbee, those types. But when you're going against a team, I'm just trying to think like the Texans when they had Tank Dell working the slot.
So if they go 3 wide, if they go 3 wide, no. But if they're a 2 tight end team, then yeah,
2 tight end for sure. Select 3 wide teams.
Okay,
gotcha.
Because I remember watching the Eagles, right, with Malcolm Jenkins. Well, that's my guy, man. Malcolm Jenkins, really good player, but a very tough player. But he was a corner turned nickel turned safety and nickel, and he did well against select ones. But Jamison Crowder, when they played back then the Redskins, man, Jamison Crowder used to grind him up,
turn him inside
every time they played. He'd just be like, you got to switch it out, put somebody else in there.
Yeah.
TD, how happy has it made you to see Chimdike being unlocked the last couple of weeks? We've talked all season about use him on that transcontinental crosser, and he's finally starting to get some targets downfield.
I'm sure the listeners could hear the smile in my voice. If I'm on camera, you can see it. I'm over here like a Cheshire cat or whatever you call it, because it's been a long time coming for Chimdike to get this opportunity. And you look, now that he's getting the reps and they're using him, he's led the team in receiving yards the last two weeks.
And look, I'm not here to bang on Brian Callahan. He's already been fired. But his use of Chimdike was malpractice for 5 weeks. I mean, 5 catches for like 2 yards. I mean, everything was behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage. When he's one of the 2 fastest guys on your football team, it made 0 sense. 0 sense. And here he goes. He gets 2 chances to go downfield. And like you said, 11 catches, 166, leads the team. And the team look, I mean, like they still stink, but it looks better.
There's promise. There's promise. And it was back to back, that deep cross. You know what I mean? And the thing that I like is his understanding of coverage. He knew the first one not to bend it all the way across, and then the second one, he knew to bend it, because it's like, oh, it's me and you, Marcus Jones.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be you, Marcus Jones. It ain't gonna be me. I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna get the touchdown.
Well, yeah, and that was if you watch the clips of him mic'd up. I mean, as soon as he made the cut, he knew he had 6 points.
He said when I saw him on my hip, and they were like, "What were you thinking?" He goes, "Run."
Yeah. When you got 4.3 speed, that's how it works.
Yeah, and when you have 4.3 speed, you use it. You don't throw it behind the line of scrimmage.
You know what? I understand what Callahan and those guys were doing, in that they're trying to get him a quick and easy touch.
But they overdid it.
Hold on. He is a returner, so you're trying to get him. But see, the bigger problem, it wasn't the usage of DK. It was having the guys blocking, because all of a sudden
Tyler Lockett blocking for him.
All of a sudden he's corner, and it was Lockett, it was Ridley. Even Ironmanner a couple of times. All of a sudden, the cornerbacks, they turn into Ronnie Daggone Lott. You know what I mean? Against the screen, and they're not blocked.
The other problem with it was that's all you did with him. So everybody only had to defend 5 yards of the field.
Right.
There wasn't any concern that he was going to run anything down the field. So all the DBs were sucked up to the line of scrimmage, and that's why every time they caught a pass, there were 3 cats there trying to blow the play up.
Yeah, he had more yards after catch than actual receiving yards for a long time.
By the way, still leads he gets a lot of kickoff returns. So don't get it wrong.
All-purpose yards,
but leads the league in all-purpose yards. There's a guy on this radio station who did that, I think, when it was first couple years in the league.
Yeah.
And I think he set a league record.
I think he's on at 3 o'clock.
Who And Titans, if you're listening, shame on you for not having 85 on that darn ring.
Yeah.
Ring of honor.
Great
Derek
player.
Mason needs to be in there, man.
Great player.
That's got to happen soon. TD, I assume you can't stay long.
When we go to a commercial, I could go touch base, see if we can see.
We'll see. All right, we'll take a break. We might have TD on the other side. We know he's a busy man, but I always appreciate him coming on. We'll be right back. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Teron Davenport in studio here on Next Man Up 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly on this Wednesday. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, 615-737-1025. Teron Davenport was with us for the last segment. He's touching base. We'll see if he checks back in. Always love to get an impromptu TD appearance in the studio. But we can check back in on college football while we see if TD will come back in. we're talking about Oklahoma and Tennessee. I feel good about this game for Tennessee.
Do you?
Yeah, it's Neyland at night. John Mateer hasn't looked the same over the last couple of weeks after a really strong start to the season.
He's got 8 picks this year.
Yeah, he was a Heisman contender through the first few weeks, and I think this Tennessee offense is
too much.
Is going to be too much for Oklahoma. Oklahoma's defense is really good. I mean, that's what Venables hangs his hat on.
Now, this is a Tennessee defense that just gave up 34 to Kentucky.
That is true.
That scares me. That scares me. I'm not gonna lie. That scares me.
Yeah, it could be another shootout. But
yeah.
I think if I had to choose between the two offenses, I'm gonna go with Tennessee.
Could you see Tennessee winning this game like 35-31?
Yeah, I think that's probably about where I'd put it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not a gimme.
No, it's not a layup.
You've got 2 games that you have to win to get to that Vanderbilt game with a chance to make the playoffs.
I kind of feel about this one the way I felt about Mississippi State.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like,
that's kind of how I feel about the Florida game the week before.
Yeah,
Vandy.
I know there's so much for Tennessee fans. There's so much bad in the memory department at Florida, and like there's frankly a lot of games that they lost that they should have won.
Right.
And so I understand that. I look at the Tennessee defense and I go, I do that more than the Swamp.
Yeah, I mean, you got New Mexico State in there. They don't have Diego Pavia over there anymore. So
yeah, I don't think he's playing.
I would think Tennessee would be able to handle business there.
Mm-hmm.
It's these 2 games. It's Oklahoma, it's Florida, and if you can survive them, you play Vanderbilt in Neyland Stadium with the chance to go to the playoffs.
Yep.
Most likely. Again, we went through the scenarios yesterday because we were told on Monday that a 10-2 Vanderbilt doesn't make the playoffs if they lose to Tennessee. And
who told you that?
Somebody on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
I was called the local homer for saying that. But I think either of these teams, if you're 10-2, you're in. Now, if both of them are 10-2, you probably need a little bit of help. You need maybe Notre Dame to lose another game. You need a couple of these other teams in the SEC to lose a game. But I think you still feel pretty good for both these teams that 10 wins get you a playoff spot.
Well, I think, you're going to feel decent. But if you're Vandy, Tennessee, and you're Tennessee and you're 10-2 and Vandy's 10-2 because you beat them,
right?
You've got the leg up because you've got the head-to-head. Now, I don't know what the overall resume is going to be. Vandy's got 3 top 15 wins.
Yeah, and both of your losses would be like
on the road.
But both of your losses would be against fellow playoff teams for both
on
those
the road.
Teams. Yes.
Yes.
And for Tennessee, Georgia at home.
Yeah. And you should have won if you could kick a field goal.
Right.
So it'll be tough, and it'll be like, we had those 3 teams last year who didn't make it, and they all had justifiable claims on a spot, but they were all on the outside for a reason.
And they were all 9-3, which it all depends on the year, right? Like there are going to be some years where 10-2 gets you in easily and you're maybe the 6th seed. And there are going to be some years where 10-2 has you on the bubble.
So look, the Big Ten's going to get 3.
Yeah. Oregon, Indiana, Ohio State.
They're going to be in.
Yep.
Notre Dame's probably going to be in.
So
just deal
4.
with it.
You're getting the American champion's going to get the group of 5 spot.
Okay.
The ACC champion, the Big 12 champion. So that's 7. That leaves 5 spots for the SEC, unless you get a 2-bid ACC, 2-bid Big 12. So you probably need BYU or Texas Tech to lose another game. You need Miami or Georgia Tech to lose.
Tech's got a loss, right? They lost to Arizona State.
They lost to Arizona State.
Yeah. Okay. That hurts because Arizona State just lost to Houston. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was they need Arizona State to be really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that loss is going to be worse than anything the SEC
The problem is Arizona State hasn't been healthy at quarterback. They've been without Sam Leavitt for a lot of these games.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, it's that is going to be so if it's let's just say it's 5 SEC teams. All right, you've got
A&M,
Alabama,
Georgia,
Ole Miss, Georgia,
and then it's
Tennessee
or Vanderbilt. So that's what we were talking about yesterday. Is yes, if all these teams that are in contention keep winning, then yes, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, maybe 10-2 doesn't get you in, but I think you're going to get a little bit of help. College football seems to always have some chaos that happens.
There's a lot of games left to play.
Yes.
There are a lot of games left to play. I'm looking at Ole Miss's resume right now. Their only losses to Georgia.
And their schedule is relatively easy the rest of the way.
They've had quality wins. You'd call them quality wins over LSU and Oklahoma.
Yep.
So it's not overwhelming. They barely got by a horrible Washington State team. Escaped Arkansas pre-Pittman firing.
Yeah.
Beat Kentucky, who's terrible, by 7. They've got South Carolina, whose season is over, the Citadel in Florida, and Mississippi State. Yeah, I mean they should be 11-1.
I think the point you could make for Vanderbilt is, let's say you lose to Texas this weekend, and you go into Neyland 9-2, and you win that game.
Well, then you've got the head-to-head,
right? Well, and Tennessee would have 3 losses.
Yeah.
You would need Texas to lose another game, but Texas plays A&M at the end of the season. Like that's not a game that I would pick Texas to win. So I think for Vanderbilt, yes, 10-2s can look different, right? Like a 10-2 with a win at Tennessee
to finish
probably gives you a better chance to get in than a 10-2 with a loss against Tennessee at the end of the season, because the last thought in the committee's mind would be a loss. It would be against a fellow playoff team where they could leapfrog you.
And again, we're talking about all this like everything's going to hold to form,
right?
And it doesn't.
That's what we went through the ESPN playoff predictor that they've got there, and it said that a 10-2 Vanderbilt has a 96% chance to make.
Did
the
it?
playoff.
Okay.
So, and that was with a loss to Tennessee, not to Texas.
Yeah.
So I think you feel pretty good about it if you're Tennessee. Caleb asks, let's say Tennessee beats Vandy. Do you think 6 SEC teams could make the playoff? Yes, I think they could. You probably need Notre Dame to lose again, which probably unlikely, but not impossible. Again, they lost to Northern Illinois last year.
Yeah, but I mean, you could also and like I like Notre Dame and I love Marcus Freeman and I like to see them in the playoffs because I think it's better with them in the playoffs because it drives conversation if anything. But I don't know if you're going to be able to look at their resume of victories against a sixth SEC team,
right? That is a good point. Is maybe it comes down to because Vanderbilt versus Notre Dame, and it's like,
well, it says Notre Dame's quality wins are Southern Cal.
Let's see.
I know they blew out NC State,
Arkansas.
They got Sam Pittman fired.
Their wins this year: Purdue, Arkansas, Boise State, NC State, Southern Cal. And the rest of their schedule is BC, Navy, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, and Stanford.
By the way, not their fault that those teams are bad. All right. NC State has had good teams in the past. Arkansas was supposed to be better. I mean, like I said, they beat Arkansas so bad they fired their coach.
Boise State was a playoff team last year.
Yeah, Boise State was a playoff team, and they were on the schedule. They can't help it that Boise State took a big step back.
Right.
Because I know everybody wants to say, well, they don't play anybody. Well, they tried.
They did.
They tried.
The end of this season is a cakewalk. I mean, those are
Stanford's terrible.
Syracuse isn't good. BC's terrible. Pitt's not great. Navy, I mean,
they should be 10-2.
You're going to try and hang your hat on basically a USC win is going to be their best win.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for them. It's unfortunate, but their 2 losses were top 10 losses on like last series of the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
right. They've lost by a combined 4 points
to Texas A&M and
Miami,
who are
both might be playoff teams.
They are both playoff teams.
As of now, Miami's a playoff team.
Miami's got 1 loss, right?
Yes, but if they lose another, they'd be out.
Okay. Well, I guess we have to see who else they play. But the Miami looked pretty darn good that night. And Notre Dame still almost won that football game. I'll put it this way. I think they're one of the 12 best teams in the country.
I agree with that. Miami likely going to win out too. They got SMU, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So
if they don't win out, then they blew it.
Yes.
And they look a 10-2 Miami with a loss to one of those teams doesn't deserve to get in.
Agreed. And I guess that could end up being what it is if you get to the point where Tennessee beats Vanderbilt and both teams are 10-2. It may come down to Vanderbilt versus Notre Dame to get into the playoff. And
their resume is better.
Vanderbilt?
Yeah.
I agree. I think Vanderbilt has better wins, and all of the losses would be to playoff teams at that point. Right. So it's like Notre Dame, yes, you lost to playoff teams in Miami and Texas A&M, but guess what? So did Vandy, and Vandy has better wins. Yeah,
and so your losses wash each other out, but your wins aren't as good as theirs. And that's really no fault of your own, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
I think Vandy would get in at that point. A lot of football to play. We keep saying this. We're having this conversation, but there's a lot of football left to play.
Yeah, I mean, because didn't didn't Lane last year lose to Kentucky late in the season?
Yes.
And I mean, Kentucky stinks.
There's always a game or two in November, if not more, where a team has the playoff right in front of them and they just throw it away.
Yeah.
And there's a chance Vandy could be the team to do that, or Tennessee. Like Tennessee could head into Florida 8-2, and all you have to do is win, and then you get Vandy at home, and you choke.
What happens if say Vandy beats Texas this weekend
and loses to Auburn?
Right, and then they're done. They're done because that's a bad loss.
So there's so much football left to be played, but I think based on what we've seen in the past from college football, if Vandy finds a way to be 10-2 and one of those losses, the loss is on the road at Texas, at Tennessee, they're going to be fine. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I guess we say they're going to be fine with it if they lost to Texas, but what if Texas finishes like, I don't know, 8-4?
Right.
I mean, then obviously
that it starts to become
the thing I will say. I'm sorry to interrupt you. The thing I will say about Texas is they still started the year number 1.
Yes.
So they still clearly have the talent on the team. They just haven't been able to put it all together for whatever reason. You could say the quarterback position has held them back. I think you can safely say that.
Yeah.
But they still haven't done it.
I think if Vandy beats Texas or loses to Texas, but then finishes with 3 straight wins and punctuates it with a win in Neyland Stadium against Tennessee, I would find it hard for the committee to say, but now we're good.
What if Tennessee loses to Oklahoma? And now that's you're beating a Tennessee team
that's an 8-4 team.
Which just has nothing to play for.
Right.
I mean, because they're out of the playoffs and they know it. And the guys are jumping ship because they're finding their next NIL deal or they're going pro. And suddenly that wins. That's what we say. There's so many factors that are going to unveil themselves. Like there's a team outside of the playoffs right now that we're probably going to be talking about in week 12. That could get in, and we're going to be like, wow, Cincinnati's going to the playoffs.
And who knows what happens with the Big 12 or the ACC. Like right now, I hate to say it, but Virginia is still in contention for they are undefeated in the ACC right now because they escaped Bill Belichick
in overtime. Yeah, that's bad.
That's not a good Virginia team, but they're somehow undefeated in the ACC because their game against NC State that they lost was a non-conference game somehow.
Was it really?
It did not count towards ACC standings.
Wow, that's crazy.
So they are undefeated in the ACC despite having lost to an ACC team.
Man.
So you're right. There's teams that we're not talking about that could spoil the whole thing.
There's one right there.
Because guess what? If Virginia gets to the ACC championship and Miami goes 11-1, Miami's probably still in.
They're not considering championship games, correct?
Right. So let's say Georgia Tech is 11-1. Their only losses to Georgia, and UVA upsets Georgia Tech in the ACC championship game. You could have a 3-bid ACC.
It's tough to imagine it not being a 2-bid ACC. I mean, I have to think Georgia Tech and Miami are both getting in.
Unless one of them slips up.
Yes, unless one of them slips up.
Like Georgia Tech, if you're 11-1 and your only losses to Georgia, I think you're in.
Yeah.
If Miami is 11-1, the Louisville loss won't look great, but you're 11-1.
Yes.
You're going to get in. So you're right. That's another wrench that could be thrown into all this.
Yeah, I mean, we could look at Tennessee and Vandy both being 10-2 and both being out.
Yeah. Michael Madison puts it the best here. Vandy could just go 11-1 and not have to worry about any of this.
Absolutely.
And I think that is the mindset over on West End right now.
Well, and you know what? And we haven't talked about this. I know we got to go to break. One of the things I love about the way Clark Lee has handled this season is everything. Like they don't celebrate these wins like they conquered the world like they used to.
Yeah.
Because all these are for them now are steps.
Yep.
Steps to the next game that get them closer to the playoff. Everything for them is getting to the college football playoff. It's not about a winning season. It's not about getting the program on track. It's not about going to a bowl game or going to a New Year's Day bowl game.
Yeah.
It's about, okay, we won this one. We have to keep winning.
Yep.
We have to, okay, celebrate for tonight. Back to work tomorrow. We have to keep winning. And the whole team is on board with that. They learned their lesson from Georgia State last year. Their expectations clearly were the playoffs when this season started, and they have not wavered from that. And seeing that leadership and that that mantra set in has been really impressive.
Yeah, last year they had T-shirts and a huge celebration when they clinched bowl eligibility against Auburn.
Yeah.
This year they did it against LSU, and it was just another game.
Yep.
So they're
Just another
7-1.
step.
They got Texas this weekend. Arch Manning in concussion protocol. We'll talk about what a factor that could be on Saturday. Coming up next, Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis with you on this Wednesday. Talking college football, but do have some breaking news in the NFL. Aiden Hutchinson signing a 4-year, $180 million extension with the Detroit Lions. That is just shy of Micah Parsons' deal with the Packers, which was 4 years, $186 million.
That was a gift to Detroit. We've been talking about that in the break, getting to take him second overall, a kid out of Michigan, gets to stay there. He's happy to be. He has been part of that culture change because when he joined that team, they were terrible. And I'll still never forget him coming in as a rookie and singing Billie Jean in front of the whole team in the meeting room.
Yeah.
And guys are throwing their shirts off at him. And I mean, you could see the Lions coming together. You could physically see that's 53 guys coming together. And, Dan Campbell's a huge part of that. Aiden Hutchinson's another part of that. And I think, this is a perfect example of you pay for guys who win games. And he is a guy who makes plays that win games. We talk about Roger McCreary and, he's not a guy who loses you games. He's not a problem. But he's not a guy that wins you games either.
Right.
The Titans don't have really any of those. Okay. Jeffrey Simmons occasionally makes plays that change games, win games, put you in position to win games. But other than that, they don't have that guy right now. All right. And the Lions have a few of them.
The Lions have plenty of them.
They got a few. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs,
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, they've got, and that's why you hitch your wagon to those guys. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of money at a premium position.
Right. And he's still young, and that's going to be his prime years. Now that he's coming back from that injury last year. Yeah, it feels like the Jaguars just overthought it with Trayvon Walker. Of like Aiden Hutchinson was the more productive player, and
hands down.
They were looking at, Trayvon Walker runs a better 40 time. Like, that doesn't really matter all that much.
And Trayvon Walker, didn't he have 11 sacks last year?
Yeah, still a good player.
Yeah, but
not a game changer.
No, or a culture changer,
which is what you try and take at number one overall.
And that's it's hard for a defensive end to be a culture changer.
Yeah,
but he is part of the change in culture there. I would stake my paycheck on it that he is a part of the change there,
right,
without a doubt.
And Michigan guy ended up being a good fit up there, but I think Titans fans, Titans offensive linemen, Titans quarterbacks are glad that Aiden Hutchinson does not play for the Jaguars, and you have to see him twice a year. Let's get back to college. Twice a week would be really tough. Yeah. That'd be a long couple of weeks. College football, Vanderbilt, Texas, 11 a.m. on News 2 on Saturday. And Arch Manning in concussion protocol.
Yeah, it looks bad.
His backup only threw one pass. It was the game-winning pass.
As Clark Lee called it, a dime.
Yes, in overtime. So, we don't really know what to expect.
They could be better.
Right. Arch Manning has not been great this year. He has been better at home, and that include the home splits on ESPN included the Oklahoma game, which technically was a neutral site.
Yeah.
But in home games this year, and you do have to take competition into factor here because it's like San Jose State and UTEP. Yeah. 67% completion percentage, 9 yards per attempt, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks at home. On the road, 56% completion percentage, 7 yards per attempt, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks.
Yeah, the competition there, there's all SEC teams and Ohio State.
Yes. So it's Kentucky, Mississippi State, Florida, and Ohio State.
That's 2 bad SEC teams, and Florida, who's not a good SEC team.
Yeah, and you lost that game.
Yeah. So, and I don't hate Arch Manning. I don't have an axe to grind against Arch Manning. He has not produced.
No.
I mean, and the problem if you're Texas, you can't bench Arch Manning. You can't.
The name value, the brand value, you can't
do it. But what you can do is he's in concussion protocol. We're going to go with this guy.
Yeah.
And you know what? And then if this guy goes and throws for 400 against Vandy and they win by 2 touchdowns, well, Arch is still our guy, but we're going to ride the hot hand. And nobody is going to fight you on it.
Yep.
But so this gives Sark, if he wants out of Arch, at least for a week, this gives him his out.
Matthew Caldwell is this guy. 8 completions, 11 attempts, 85 yards, and a touchdown so far this season.
Can we find out what was he a 4-star recruit? Because he's at Texas. It's not like the guy backing up Chad Powers at Georgia, South Georgia.
He was at Troy last year and
He
then
was at Troy?
transferred. So
Okay.
he's a senior.
Okay.
Yep.
I have.
So he's an experienced player.
Yeah, let's see. What did he do at Troy last year? I have not watched the finale for Chad Powers yet. I need to.
Finale. It's good. It's
Okay.
good. I watched it. I that's appointment programming for me now.
Yeah, it's. I've watched the first 5. It's been interesting. Big twist there. Let's see. Last year he was 141 for 223, 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, and where's interceptions? 8 interceptions.
So he's a depth
at
piece.
Troy. So
He's a
right.
depth piece.
It's not like he was lighting the world on
No.
fire at Troy. So
it would be stunning if he was better.
yes. Bud says, good morning. I believe the backup at Texas at one time played at Tulane. Maybe he did too.
Yeah.
But yes, Matthew Caldwell, originally from Auburn, Alabama. He has played at Gardner-Webb, Jacksonville State, and Troy before going to Texas.
Making the rounds.
Yes, well-traveled for sure.
He's their own Jacoby Gillespie.
Yes, yeah, and we'll see who the Commodores see on Saturday. Titans play on Sunday. On Saturday in Austin, will they be able to slow down Texas, whose offense hasn't been great, but started to make some plays towards the end of that Mississippi State game?
Yep.
It's a big one. If Vandy can get that win, you come home and face Auburn and Kentucky, who are combined, 1-9 in the SEC?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And they don't have a whole lot to play for
right
at this point.
And
Hugh Freeze is on the death watch.
There are no gimmies in the SEC.
No.
But you get to come home and play 2 teams that you should be favored by, I'd say, about a touchdown or more against.
Yeah.
With a chance to get to 10-1 heading to Neyland. So big game this Saturday. We'll see if Arch Manning is out there for Texas. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll take your texts and calls. I've got one more segment today. Nick Frazier is going to take my spot coming up at 11 o'clock. Wanted to bring up Nashville SC. You got the jacket on.
Yeah.
They are getting ready for playoff game number 2 on Friday or Saturday.
Messi's back.
Yes. Lionel Messi making a return trip to Nashville after he was here just a couple weeks
Scored
ago
3 goals
and had a hat trick. So we'll talk about Nashville SC to wrap up hour number 2. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game, Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly alongside you. Second hour wrapping up on this Wednesday. Nick Frazier going to jump in for me after this segment, but did want to check in on Nashville SC for a couple of minutes here. I know you're right on the beat with Nashville SC. They're in the playoffs.
Yep.
They lost game 1 in
3-1.
Miami last weekend. Backs up against the wall this week at Geodis Park. It's on Saturday night with Messi coming back to town. Not going to be an easy task, but an opportunity for Nashville SC to at least keep their season alive for another week.
Yeah, I mean, look, the problem with Inter Miami is they got more good players than just Lionel Messi. The problem is that he's the best player in the league.
Yep.
And he gets the ball at the top of the box, and you're just in jail. It doesn't matter how many guys you have there. He changes direction like that.
Yep.
And all of a sudden that left foot is out and bang. And it's just, there's no one else in the league like him because he is one of the best players in the world
of all time.
And they just extended him. He's going to play a couple more years.
Yeah.
I mean, he just won the Golden Boot, so he absolutely can. I know Tennessee's playing at that same time.
Yeah.
So, and it's a big game. So but I went last week and I'm grateful. I got to see one of the best to ever play the game do crazy stuff. And so if you can get a chance to go to the game, go to the game. I know it's expensive because the Miami fans and just the Messi fans are crazy.
The people who want to see Lionel Messi.
I mean, so there was a good crowd at that game last week. I mean, was that 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a good crowd. Now there were a lot of people in Messi and Inter Miami stuff, but there was a good Nashville crowd there too. And so it kind of had the feel of a playoff game. Even in that one. But what was incredible was after the game, I saw 4 or 5 different guys that had just suitcases opened up with nothing but Messi jerseys. And I think they just follow Inter Miami around from game to game to game. And this is what they do after each game. This is how they make their living. They just open these suitcases and sell Messi jerseys, all the different clubs he's played for.
Right.
And people just buy it up. I mean, he is a brand. He is a brand without question.
Do you know how many followers he has on Instagram?
I will make a guess. I literally have no idea. 80 million.
It is more than the population of the United States.
So it's more than 300 million.
Yes.
Okay. How many is it?
507 million followers.
Wow.
On Instagram.
Wow.
Like that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it shows you how popular he is around the world.
Yep.
I mean, South America.
I wonder how many of those are Americans.
Not a lot, I would guess. I mean, percentage-wise, I would say.
I mean, there's a lot in Argentina, obviously.
Right. Like South Americans all love him because he's Argentinian.
Yeah.
And he's played most of his career in Europe. So, playing for Barcelona, like.
He has the second most international goals all time behind
Pele?
No.
Oh,
the guy who's playing in Saudi Arabia.
Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, I can't believe my daughter loves Ronaldo. And so she always just tells me, well, Ronaldo's better. I'm like, what? You're splitting hairs here.
Right.
I mean, this guy is phenomenal. And he sees the game differently. It's, I was trying to compare him to somebody the other day. But like he sees openings, it was Patrick Mahomes. Okay.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is kind of like Messi, that he makes plays that you don't think should be made.
Yeah. The spatial awareness.
Yeah. He avoids people when you don't think he should be able to avoid them, because like when Tyreek Hill avoids people, why? Because he's fast.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes isn't that fast, but he just moves his body. His spatial awareness is off the charts.
It's like a sixth sense.
Yes. I think that's a really good way to put it. And then his ability to find pockets down the field that no one else finds and drop it in there. I mean, he had a play Monday night where he rolled out to the left and somehow avoided like 2 guys and then jumped up in the air and found somebody over the middle and just dumped it down to him for like a 20-yard game. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
I'm like, nobody else makes that play. And that's the play where I'm like, that's like watching Messi in soccer, and not just the goals, but like he finds this tiny little seam and he passes it, and all of a sudden it's, oh my gosh, that's right in front of the net.
Right.
And how did he see that? How did he know he had a teammate there? Yeah, and it's a goal.
And Nashville SC charged with stopping that on Saturday to keep their season alive.
Yeah.
It's tough to draw
well, look,
Miami as your first round matchup.
It is. And 2 weeks ago, they should have had them beat at halftime. They had them down 2-1. It should have been 4-1.
Yeah.
And that's where they lost the game, because when Miami has opportunities to finish, they finish.
Yep.
And when Nashville was rolling this year, when they went 3 straight months without a loss, they didn't miss opportunities. That's when Sam Surridge was just burying shots.
Right.
And, he has still had a great year, so don't get me wrong, but you got to be perfect to beat these guys, to get the goal. When you have scoring opportunities, they have got to go in the back of the net. If you don't, you're giving the game away. You have to put it in the back of the net.
Nashville SC going to try and avoid elimination on Saturday against Lionel Messi and Miami. And you're right, those tickets are going to be expensive down there at Geodis Park. A chance to see one of the greatest players of all time. And we'll hope Nashville SC can extend it back to Miami.
Yeah, we finally
weekend.
get to a game 3.
Yes.
For as good as this year has been, and it's been a great year.
Yep.
It would be disappointing to go 1 and out. You understand what the matchup is,
right?
But you got to finish higher. And unfortunately, they're in the tougher conference this year.
Yes, we looked at the standings, and it's like they would be the 3 seed in.
Well, I mean, if they're playing more games in that conference, they're probably the 2 or the 1.
Right.
Okay. But, in another positive is you get to see what else you need. They addressed a lot of needs last offseason, and if they can tweak it a little bit this offseason, get a little bit better, then we'll see what they can do.
The turnaround from last year to this year was massive, and if you can take another step forward next year, maybe you're starting to compete for the MLS Cup. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. That wraps up hour number 2. I have to get out of here. But Cory, you're in good hands. Dr. Crane going to come in and hang out with you for the last hour. Plenty to talk about with the Titans, college football, the Preds, and much more. Nick Frazier jumping in after this. Coming up next here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game.
Final hour here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Nick Frazier stepping in for Jake Lyman as he is on his way to bigger and better things with Vanderbilt women's basketball.
I thought you said he was dying.
No, not at all. Absolutely not. Alongside Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Cory, you guys were talking a little bit about Nashville SC to end up that second hour. We're going to continue that a little bit into the third hour here. Nashville have a big game coming up Saturday.
Yeah.
Obviously, the result is not what they wanted in Fort Lauderdale this past weekend, but this upcoming weekend, I think it'll be a little different, a little bit more challenging for Inter Miami when it comes to defensive tactics and stuff of that nature. But just, I heard your thoughts on that. Obviously, Messi, whenever he has small space, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, you give him the ball at the top of the 18 there, it's a problem.
Yeah,
it's a problem, and you've got to prevent it from happening, because once it happens, you're already in jail. And you see, Tagseth and some of the other midfielders, Brugman, try to deal with them when you're there, or even Bauer, coming up to him, and you can't foul him, because if he gets the free kick from right outside the box, that's a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just you're just in jail. You double team him, he finds the open guy. It's the darndest thing, man.
I compare it to from goalpost to goalpost. In between the pipes, it's like the tackle box in the NFL. You have a quarterback that stays inside the tackle box. For Messi, if he stays inside the post at the top of the 18, it's like a free throw in basketball.
He's like Barry Sanders between the tackles.
Yes.
He can change directions 3 times and suddenly he's gone for 80.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't look like the quickest guy, he's not a very tall guy, but he can change direction and he gets the shot off so quickly and so accurately and so powerfully that you're just like, wow. What now? Look, I love Walker Zimmerman. I love the signing of him. I love him on this team. I love that he's the captain. I love it. I think Palacios has to play.
Absolutely. I'm in the camp of Jason Palacios starts alongside probably Jack Mayer, if that's the case, because he seems to be the Batman to the Robin when it comes to the two center back.
And you can bring Walker in the last 20, 30, ideally if you're winning, and you can add to that group.
I'd agree. Early on in the season when he had that head injury in Charlotte, to me, he just was never really the same after that. I'm sure, obviously, when you're in your early 30s, mid-30s, you tend to lose a step with, your game.
Well, I think that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
He's lost a half a step. Now, look, he can still be a good player for your team. I think it'd be interesting if he's back next year, what they do with him, because is Palacios on an expiring deal?
No.
Oh, okay.
Walker is actually.
Oh, Walker is. Yeah. So they, and that's a decision. And I remember talking with management about this after last year, talking about what Walker's future is. I think they would like to have him back, but they're not going to pay him for the player he was. They're going to pay him for the player that he is, and he'd have to be willing to accept that.
Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing with Anibal Godoy. I mean, they wanted Anibal Godoy back, but yet it just wasn't on the right deal.
Yeah. I mean, you just, and it's always funny because guys are always willing to take, like, say you offer him $1.2 million.
Sure.
And he's like, no, I'm not going to pay for that. I play for more now. And Atlanta offers him then the same deal and he takes it. But they feel disrespected when they get offered less than they were making for the team they were playing. And I understand that, but this is a performance industry like all athletics is. And again, it's paying you for the player you are now.
Right.
And because he's not the same player. And like I said, having said that, I love Walker Zimmerman. I do. I want him on this team. He is good for Nashville. And he, there's still nobody on that team who plays the game above the shoulders better than him. And I don't mean that the thinking part. I mean going up and heading the ball.
Absolutely.
He's stronger at that part of the game than anybody on their team. And that has value in itself. You saw the U.S. men's national team bring him off the bench for just that in a victory. And so, and also you give him a whole offseason to get healthy, I think, can be the same. But having said that, I think more of this has to do with Palacios and that he has been so good. And he is fast and he is long. And, I just think he needs to be on the field.
Absolutely. The way he's able to close down small spaces, if it's near the corner flag or on that byline there, he's impressive. And that's what I think Nashville's been missing at that center back position is that reinforcer that can close down small spaces. Now, I will say this past Saturday, it did hurt them a little bit. I could see they were playing a little bit of a higher line in the back between, Palacios and his counterpart. But, that's one issue is when you play a high line in the back, your midfield cannot be playing higher than it really is, because then that leaves too much space in between the lines for Messi to cut through.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw.
So you got to close the gap.
Correct. And I think that's something they were a little discombobulated with. And I'm not a fan of having Brian Acosta in the midfield there. To me, he's a little bit of a counterweight. He's too heavy in the midfield. The space, the speed, he's not up to par. I could see why they did it, is to help out with the legs, but that's just me.
You got to have Eddie back there at the defensive mid.
Yeah.
Because he covers so much ground. I mean, I think he had like the 3rd most miles logged in the MLS this year.
It's crazy.
And he's tireless. And so, you've just got to get every minute you can out of him. I know they've brought in Brugman, or if they haven't started Brugman, but he is more of an attacking mid than the defensive mid.
He's that artistic role in the midfield. I like that.
Yeah. And then, you've got on the outside.
Schaffelberg.
No, not Schaffelberg.
Alex Moyle.
No. My brain is the all-star defensive back.
Nahar.
And he has been. I'm very tired. My brain is not.
You're
working.
okay. Yeah, absolutely.
He has been spectacular this year, and he has delivered. He has really been the engine that's made the offense go. His long passing ability is been outstanding. Having said that, he needs to be tighter on the defensive end when you're playing this team.
Yeah.
And look, I'm an idiot. What do I know? I mean,
you're right.
BJ Callahan could listen to this and tell me I just need to shut up and go away, and he would probably be right. But when you're playing this team, that can hang 5 on you in a heartbeat. You've got to respect that. You just do. And then when you get your chances, you got to bury them.
And that's something in the very last game of the season when they played Inter Miami here, if I can speak.
Yeah.
That they had a lot of chances in the first half. They could have easily buried that game away.
Should have been 4-1.
It should have been, absolutely. And that's one thing I've seen about Andy Nahar's play you're talking about. Needs to be more structurally sound out of the back. But for him, the way Nashville plays, they almost rotate that Daniel Lovitz as almost a 3 back in some cases.
Yeah, you're right.
And they overlap that.
And Lovitz has had a great year too.
Yeah. And I just had this on my phone. A friend of mine, we were talking about this last week, mentioned that there was a potential, I guess, not pickup, but it's in the works. I guess Maxwell Woldolzinski, or however you pronounce his name.
It's a good Polish name.
Yeah. Well, anyways, he's playing in that Norwegian league that
they love pulling their Scandinavians.
Yeah, I guess that's their farm system in a roundabout way. But the reason why I bring his name up is that he plays that Andy Nahar attacking style.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good future for Nashville going forward, is because if you're after a guy like that, that is maybe either the replacement of Daniel Lovitz and or another center back to compare with Jason Palacios.
Well, I mean, you've got Palacios and Mayer, and then you've got Whiteside coming up.
That's true.
And Whiteside, I mean,
Applewhite, Chris Applewhite.
Yeah.
You're good. Hey, all good. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, Chris Applewhite. I mean, he's 6'4", 6'5", and he's 17, 18 years old. I don't know if next year he's ready. I mean, he's played some this year, but eventually he needs to be a dude for this team. He does. And Ahmed Kassim, I thought he would give them more than he's given them this year, because he clearly has abilities. You need him next year. And I hate talking about next year already, but as you're looking at the way this team shapes up, he needs to give them more offense next year.
Yeah.
And I think he will. I think he's on a 2-year deal. So next year is a really big year for him. And he'll be with them the entire offseason instead of joining them like the week before the season started.
Right. But you make a great point, though, Corey, is that the way BJ Callahan has handled this system this entire year, he's accelerated this window. Like, no longer are you trying to fix a team and get that chemistry built.
Yeah.
He had a full offseason to do all that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've already won a cup in the first year under BJ Callahan, 3 All-Stars, like, this is a core that you could win now for the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, you've got a core, and then you've got players coming up, which we really haven't seen in the past.
And any professional aspect in Nashville, honestly.
Yeah, and so in this one, you're like, okay, you've got Kassim and you've got Applewhite, and you're like, okay. And there's a couple other youngsters that they have signed from Huntsville.
Sure.
But those two in particular are ones that excite you, and think, you could have core pieces there. And that could be why they brought in a Palacios, as he's 31, right?
Yeah, he's around
you got an aging player. You just need to buy a couple more years until you think that kid is ready, because I think he's going to be special. And you just wonder how long they hang on to him at that point. And then, the guy we haven't talked about is Matt Corcoran, who has played on the U.S. under-21 team for years now. And he just got called up again. And he'll be a core part probably of that defensive or offensive or defensive midfield, wherever they decide to use him.
Holding midfielder for sure. He's able to go defense, offense, all the above. That box-to-box midfielder Nashville is sought after, essentially. And for that to happen, and this is something that dawned on me, it was actually the first night of the season. Wyatt Meyer and Matthew Corcoran played in the midfield together against New England. And I'm thinking in my head, or it was Washington, one of the two.
Meyer had a goal in the league
U.S. Open Cup.
Open Cup,
I think it was against Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando City. Yeah.
So again, that's a lot of young talent. That Wyatt Meyer's a guy you can play in the midfield, left back, right back, wherever. He's that utility guy that's really evolved this year.
Yeah.
But overall, this team, there are a lot of young pieces, and it's incredible to see how BJ's evolved each and every one of them into putting them into key positions during the season. Like, don't get me wrong, we both know this, that Nashville dropped some points in the later part of the season, that if they won a handful of those games, they'd be in a different position playoff-wise. Like, they wouldn't have to play Inter Miami first week of the playoffs.
I don't have the schedule in front of me. They don't have many bad losses this year, but they had one or two during the stretch, and it was like 2-1. Yeah. I mean, they didn't like remember early in the season when they went to Seattle and they just got banged 3-0, and then they didn't lose for 3 months after that. But they didn't have many bad losses after that, but they did have a couple that they really needed to get a point out of, and they didn't. Right. And we see the effect of that. You play Inter Miami.
Yeah, and hopefully they have a chance this Saturday. We'll see what happens. But that's a team that needs a dire win. Titans are another team. We'll kind of switch topics here a little bit. They're another team that needs some help in a roundabout way. A lot of help and a lot of different assets. But, we'll get to that on the other side here on Next Man Up right here on 102.5 The Game. Back on Next Man Up here on 102.5 The Game. Nick Frazier, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. How about that, Cory? We're coming back with a little bit of this.
This is Debbie, Harry, and Blondie, and we're not going to get to it, but it was one of the first rap songs that came out. She stuck her hand in it and said, "Let's do it."
Okay. I didn't know you were such a big Blondie fan.
Oh, I love Blondie. Yeah.
Oh, good to
I'm
know.
I'm old. Blondie, the Thompson twins, there's a lot from the 80s that I like.
Yeah. 80s were a good time.
If it's an artist today, I'm just going to tell you, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. My daughter brings up names all the time. I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about.
What about the Titans Fisher? Do you know about that?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Okay. But like I said, you're looking for pieces now. You're looking for pieces because the holes outnumber the fills massively in this team. But, and I'm not trying to be sunshine and rainbows. I'm just trying to be realistic.
Sure.
Okay. Chim Dike looks like a guy who can help you in the future. I think Elikiah Manor, he started fast and look, I don't think Elikiah Manor has a bagel this year. So he's been there and he certainly looks the part. Gunnar Helm coming along, they finally playing some more snaps. I'd still like both the tight ends, him and Chig, to be a bigger part of the plan each week because I just feel like they're not a big enough part of the plan each week. Peter Skoronsky, you got a guy there.
Core piece on the offensive line,
yeah,
for sure.
So and you need other pieces to kind of fill in. And then on defense, you've basically said, hey, we're going to start over.
Yeah.
That's basically what they've said. You've got Jeff, you've got Cedric Gray and Kevin Winston, and you re-signed Amani. And then you're just kind of going from there.
Yeah. And I guess you can add T'Vondre Sweat into that.
T'Vondre Sweat. Yeah.
There are a few pieces here and there,
but is he a part of their future? I don't know.
That's a great question. I was going to ask you about Chig Okonkwo. You said you want him to kind of be a part of that future going forward. Do you see him as a core piece going forward?
Look, no, I don't, but I think he should be. I think he should. Chig, look, he's not the best blocker. I understand that, but he has the ability to make plays with the ball in his hand. All right. He does. There's no denying it. You have to scheme to get him the ball in space or just with on the run, give him a chance to run with it. He has proven he can do that. All right. It's all about utilizing players for what they do well. If they don't re-sign him, somebody else is going to sign him and they are going to use him. Now, I say that the Patriots gave Jonnu Smith all that money and then they didn't use him. All right. Now, he's had a nice rebound to his career when he's teamed up with Arthur Smith again, who knew how to use him. I could see Arthur Smith going and getting Chig Okonkwo and saying, I can use that. And next year he catches 68 passes for 750 yards and 7 scores.
It's very possible. We all remember when Chig Okonkwo was drafted, everybody compared him to Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
That was his player art coming into the NFL.
Yeah. Look, I know he's been inconsistent in his career, but I think they've also been inconsistent in their commitment to getting him the football. And especially since Brian Callahan came on. And I knew that they would not emphasize tight ends because they didn't do it in Cincinnati. And so, once again, he is a guy who can make plays. And I don't know how much he costs. You're worth whatever somebody will pay you. And I'm sure he thinks he's worth more than the Titans would probably be offering him right now. But they don't have a lot of guys who can make plays. And I think he can make plays. And now that doesn't mean I'm going to give him $15 million a year, but I would make a good faith effort to bring him back. And, if you do, that's one less player than you got to draft.
That's very true. I go back to the whole trading options because if they do end up trading Chig Okonkwo,
it's going to be another pick swap.
Yeah. And I feel like if it's another pick swap, you're just only getting 3 or 4 spots up at some point because that's what it feels like.
Yeah. It'll be another 5 for a 6 or something. And again, if you trade him, you've got David Martin Robinson coming back, who I do like. He's more the prototypical tight end body. But again, he's not the playmaker with the ball in his hands that Chig is. And so it's okay to have different guys with different skill sets. It really is. In fact, it can be empowering to you because you can have games that are big with Chig and games that are big with Gunnar and take turns depending on who you're playing and what you need. But I don't understand the thought of, well, we don't need this guy. Well, you don't have guys. You don't, and you can, by the way, you can structure a contract. You've got tons of cap space. You can structure a deal that you can be out of in 2 years or one possibly. But again, they're probably going to have to overpay to keep him. They're probably not interested in that. But I just think that he's not like a core piece. We're going to build our team around this guy. But I think he's a guy who can help you if you've got somebody who can utilize what he can do. Yeah. And I think a good offensive coordinator does that. He recognizes, oh, this guy's good at this. We're going to use this.
I think the Titans right now, looking at their roster as a whole, if you're a GM or if you're, another front office person like a Chad Brinker or whatever it may be, I think they're so strung up on, well, this guy wasn't a part of our core.
Yeah.
This guy hasn't really been the guy going forward. And to me, that's just front office malpractice because you're not truly evaluating the players you have on deck.
Yeah.
And also, too, again, it's that worrisome factor of, oh, we're going to pay this guy X amount of money. He's a good player he's like an average player on another team.
Mm-hmm.
But if we go pay him at the Titans, he wants all-star money. And he's not going to get it. I think that's the same thing with Roger McCreary. I think if they held on to him throughout the season, he'd be winning a lot of money going forward.
Well, I mean, they're all going to want as much as they can get. That's the job.
But I'm just saying on a lower tier team like the Titans, you're going to ask for the moon.
You play a stinky tax. That's for sure. You pay a tax for being a bad team. And you have to pay more to get players. That's just the way it works. And you can fix that by becoming a good team. All right. But yeah, and again, I'm not saying they should have kept Roger McCreary. But if you did keep him, that's one less position that you got to draft. All right. And because they've got to draft a lot of spots. They still need another receiver. They need multiple edges. They need corners. But they want to start clean sheet. And that's fine. I get that, but you didn't get a pick for him. You don't have more picks. And I don't think I would be willing to bet that the player you get in this pick swap is not as good as Roger McCreary.
Absolutely.
And I'm not sitting here saying Roger McCreary is a difference maker, but he can play. Now, if you have a different plan for that position, if you say, hey, Trey Harris is our guy at that spot, we're going to sink or swim with that, you're betting your job on it. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. I get that. It's just this team doesn't have a lot worth bringing back. All right. And, to see guys who can actually play go, I would like to know they're leaving because they have better options.
Right.
They don't have better options.
When you see a proven commodity on this Titans roster, you're thinking, man, there goes another one. It's just unfortunate. But I mean, that's the lay of the land now in the NFL.
Yeah. And I mean, Roger's going to go. He's going to start somewhere next year. He's going to make $8 to $12 million, and he'll be better off probably. So we'll see, and we'll see, what the Titans do with their 5th round pick.
And to add on to that, and we can get into this to the next segment, but it kind of solely dictates off of who the next head coach will be for the direction of this roster. I mean, that's something that we were kind of talking about when I walked in here, but we
say that, there's 2 different ways to do it. Well, I'm sure there's more than that, but there's 2 basic ways to do it. The old way, the Floyd Reese way to do it, and what most GMs did is they went out and they found the best players they could find, and they drafted them, and they said, take these guys and go win. And now the Kumbaya way is for the head coach to work hand in hand with the GM and say, well, I need this kind of player and this kind of player and this kind of player. And I guess that works. I'm sure you can find places where that works. Here, it has not worked. All right. Because Ken Wisenhunt and Rustin Webster did that.
Oh, yes.
And, what Rustin, I know Rustin really well, and he's a good man, and he knows personnel. But I will say the mistake he made was giving Ken Wisenhunt what he wanted. Okay. He should have just gone out and, Wisenhunt didn't want Mariota. And he was like, no, we're going to draft Mariota. That's the one where he stuck his foot in the ground and said, no, we're going to draft Mariota. And it was the right move.
Right.
It was absolutely the right move. And so I think it goes to letting people do the job you hire them to do. Owners need to own, personnel men need to personnel, and coaches need to coach. And that's the mantra that I would live by. And that's why, yes, the coach matters, but finding whoever your coach is, the best players you can find matters a whole lot more.
You're so right. Just keep everybody in their lane. I'm right there with you, Corey. And it looks like we have one caller on. We will get to him on the other side. How about that?
His name is Out.
It's out? Oh, hi. How you doing? How you doing? No, we'll get to that on the other side right here on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. Back here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier, alongside Cory Curtis.
This is
and Parker
Billy
Kelly.
Idol.
Just takes you back in time, huh?
Yeah. He was in that Adam Sandler movie, A Wedding Singer.
Oh, yeah. That was with
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
I always say Cameron Diaz, but yeah, Drew Barrymore. That's a pretty good movie.
Julia Gulia.
Julia Gulia. We were talking about Dan Patrick earlier. He's in a lot of cameos of, Adam Sandler movies, too.
Yes, he is.
It's like every single one just about.
He's promised to roll to Derrick Henry at some point.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be darned.
So we'll see.
Well, we were talking about phones earlier before the break. Dustin, you've been waiting kindly, so go ahead. Dustin Hopkins, what you got here, bud?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Carter, I love listening to you every time you come on the show weekly, dude. It's great. You have so much intelligence. I appreciate it.
I got you fooled. I appreciate it.
No, not at all, buddy. So I have two things. Like, it's driving me nuts, these two tight ends we have. One youthful. One came in rookie year, looked hot.
Yeah.
We fired the coach, and he fell off. And now he's looking like he's coming back around. And I get it, last game, Chigakonkwo was hot. They're in the fourth, and we kept feeding him. But we've got to get Gunnar Helm more than 2 targets a game. This dude keeps making big boys, big body catches. And I feel like when he catches the ball in the secondary, he's got some yards after hits if they keep feeding him.
Well, he doesn't have the yards after catch that Chig does.
Right.
But he has a really, really wide catch radius. And so he gives Cam a bigger target and bigger window to throw to, because he can simply put it in places that DBs can't get to. And if he can catch it 10 yards over the middle and turn up the field and get 5 more, I will take that in a heartbeat. And he is also, as you saw, I think was in Arizona, he hit him on that out to the sideline, and he goes up and he catches.
Oh my goodness,
he is a good fade route target. He's a former wide receiver. And again, these guys both have ability, and it's just under Brian Callahan's offense, it was untapped ability. All right. And so, and I'm not here to bang Brian Callahan, but when I watched those two guys before the season started, I sat here with Jake on a weekly basis and said, these two guys need to get 10 plus targets a game combined. They need to be a part of the attack. They are talented young players. And also you can get them the ball and give Cam easy, quick throws to make. Okay. And so I would love to see them. Yeah, I would love to see them be a bigger part of it as well.
What are we terrible at? Third down.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you either use a running back on short thirds or you throw it to your tight end. A guy who catch, you don't need but 3 or 4 yards, but he's going to catch the ball. And the other thing for me was I did not like the Jarvis Brownlee trade. And now we traded away Roger McCreary. And I didn't like that at first either. We have no secondary, but I think they're making sure we get that first pick, not absolutely losing on defense. I really do. I know last year was different. Privy was like, no, let's not tank. But I think it's what they're doing. I think they're going to be smart. Brinker's going to be smart and ride Borgandi's coattails. And he's going to say, let's get this first pick and let's trade back this year and let's build this team with youth.
Well, I don't think any team, well, I should say that 99% of the time teams never try to lose.
Right.
And they're dealing assets because they don't want to lose them and not have anything. Like, you let Derrick Henry go and you didn't get anything in return. All right. And that's always the argument. Do you want Roger McCreary for 9 more games then to get nothing for him? I think, you make this deal, but also because you're not afraid to lose.
Right. You're
not afraid to go, all right, well, the worst thing's worse, we pick first. And I mean, and look, I feel bad for Denard Wilson. I do. And I feel bad for the other guys on the defense who are trying and the guys who are replacing them who aren't that good of players that are going to get exposed.
Exactly.
It's a lose. The only thing that saves it is if you get the pick right. That's the only thing that saves it. I mean, because with or without Roger, like if they didn't trade Roger, I still wouldn't pick them to win another game this year.
I agree.
So this doesn't change that.
My thing looking at this roster as a whole, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'd say if the Titans move on from L'Jarius Sneed and Dan Moore after 2 years, give or take, they're over the $100 million.
Well, like,
right?
there's no way Snead's back.
Yeah, right.
Can you? No.
There's no way.
No, Dan Moore can come back.
Yeah, but there's an opt out after 2 years, right?
Well, they could. I think they can get out of it after this year if they want.
Oh, okay.
But I think he's back next year.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to have to draft another tackle again next year, especially if it's another one they're going to move to guard.
That's true.
But I think that they would like to be able to use some of those high picks on wide receiver, corner, edge. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, and they could be gone from Calvin Ridley after this year too. Arden Key's on the last year of his deal. They're going to have an uber amount of cap space.
And like I was telling Jake this yesterday or the day before that it looks like the Titans are going after those guys that are coming off those rookie deals that are in the 26 to 27 year age range. So if you're able to grab guys in free agency at those age gaps, that helps a young core build on top of it. Yeah. But you still have that draft capital. So if you have that draft capital, you can go get that generational wide receiver. Like that's why I'm so sought after on the 2027 year is that if the Titans are terrible, go after Jeremiah Smith if you have that top 3 pick, you know? Yeah. I mean, somebody's going to fall in love with a quarterback this upcoming draft. Sure. And the Titans are going to have a top 3 pick easily. Somebody's going to want to trade that.
You would think. Yeah. You would think they'd be in position to trade at some point. The good and the bad of it is I think there's like 5 teams that could win like 3 games or less. Yeah. I mean, you could be 3-14 and picking 5th, which is just like, what did we do to deserve this? Mm-hmm. But the good news for the Titans is if you're not that team, then that team may want to trade up. And so you trade away your first rounder. You weren't going to take a quarterback anyway. And now you're still picking in the top 5. And that was what made the Giants deal last year really attractive. You still would have been picking. You still could have gotten Abdul Carter and gotten more picks. So, yeah. I mean, shouldn't they, we can trade that, but that's the benefit of that deal. And that's what you're looking at for this team because they need a lot of picks. They need a lot of picks and they need to hit on a lot of players. Certainly need a higher hit rate than they've had for the last 5 years or so. They've got to find a way to find not just good players. They need difference makers. Because they don't have enough guys. I mean, like you look at the way the Lions have come together, you know, they drafted Aiden Hutchinson 2nd overall. He just got paid today, but he's a difference maker. They drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round.
Difference maker.
He's a difference maker. They drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. He is a difference maker. All right. They've got difference makers all over the place. And when you've got those guys, you can sprinkle in, and then we got the Williams kid from Alabama who's can fly. And you can sprinkle in Khalif Raymond, and you're okay because you got difference makers everywhere else all over the field.
Don't forget about Sam Laporta too.
Sam Laporta,
that's another difference maker.
2nd round, I think was Laporta. Yeah, I mean, so you know, I mean, you've got to be able to find those guys, and you know that's, you know, I'm anxious to see what Kevin Winston can become, but you know, when you see Femi Oladejo in the 2nd, I don't think anybody sees him as a difference maker.
No, he has the size. Don't get me wrong. The size is there, but watching his product on the field did not look 2nd round material.
You're teaching him to play a position. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And so you used this for a team that desperately needs players. You drafted a project, and maybe it works out. And maybe in 2 years he's got 12 sacks, but I'd have to go back and look who was available. I'm sure there were some other guys who were like, that guy could play right now.
Yeah. Essentially, they drafted a linebacker because that's what he was at UCLA.
Yeah. I mean,
he transitioned.
He transitioned really late. Now, Micah Parsons did the same thing.
Right.
But Micah Parsons is a freak of nature.
Yeah. Micah Parsons is a difference maker, too.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. Micah Parsons is a beast. He is worth every penny.
And the good thing about this upcoming draft, and I know we're already talking about drafts now, but like this is a solid draft to go get a edge rusher. Like this is a loaded draft.
Didn't we say that last year too?
Did we?
I thought so.
Well, I mean, every year you can go grab a really good player, but like I think this year specifically, you have a lot of good players. One out of A&M, there's one out of Auburn.
Yeah.
I don't have their names in front of me, but watching them on Saturdays, you can definitely tell.
Well, let's be realistic.
Sure.
Their first 3 picks next year all need to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
100%.
They all need to start. They probably need to find a starting edge. They probably need to find a starting corner. And then whatever the 3rd round pick, maybe it's a running back.
Yeah.
Because they need a starting running back. I mean, yeah.
You can't rely on Tony Pollard every single week now. I mean,
I mean, Tony's getting older. I know he's only 28, but
still,
this is the running back world that we live in. And you can't, in as explosive and as enticing as Tajay can be, you can't bank on him. You can't. He's been too dinged up over the years to count on it. Okay. And so you're going to need one. I don't like taking one in the first couple of rounds. But in the third or the fourth, if you find a guy who you think this guy can come in and play for us right now, I think they need to do that.
Yeah. And I'm in the camp of the Titans. They currently have 3 picks in the top 100.
Yeah.
That needs to double. It needs to be 6.
Well, if you trade away your first one, you would hope to add at least one more in this year's draft.
Right. But I think if you do trade away that first round pick, you got to get capital for 26, 27. That's where I'm at all this.
Yeah. Well, that's to say I don't know how many of the picks are going to be for 26 and how many of the picks are going to be for 27. It depends on who you're trading with and what they've got.
Right.
But you would think you would add at least, you trade away your one, you get their 1 and a 2. And so you've added another one, and you could trade down again. You could trade down again. You could trade down from your 2 and still stay in the second and get more picks. They could do that as well.
I think this is just something that bothers Titans fans listening to it, is that they want to know if it's Mike Borgonzi going to make that move or Chad Brinker.
Well, I mean, look, I think Mike Borgonzi. Okay, I don't think that the Titans structure is as unique and unusual as everyone else does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when Rustin Webster was the GM, Mike Reinfeldt was the team president. Okay. Football president of operations.
Yeah.
They had the same structure, and nobody asked who was making the decisions then. It was Rustin Webster. He was the general manager.
Right.
And yes, Chad Brinker is over Mike Borgonzi. Yes, he has ultimate call over everything. But you know who has ultimate call over him? Amy Adams Strunk. And nobody asks if she's making the picks. Okay. Mike Borgonzi's making the picks.
Yep.
That's the way I look at it. I could be wrong. PK or somebody can call up here and tell me I'm an idiot. That's fine. Mike Borgonzi was now, is Chad Brinker going to be involved in the process?
Sure.
Yeah, he probably is. But I think I am confident in saying Mike Borgonzi is going to make the picks. Now he's got to prove he can do it. I mean, we've seen plenty of guys with pedigree, coaching, quarterback, GM, succeed and fail. We just got to wait. We've seen some do both. We saw John Robinson start hot as a pistol and then fizzle.
Yeah.
So, the guy that can do it, Bill Polian style for 40 years, that's different.
Indeed.
Floyd Reese.
There's one team that is in a different sport that is just taking the sport by storm, and that's the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Okay.
Get your thoughts on baseball, because you're a Cubs fan. I'm a Cardinals fan. I'm gonna tell you now, Corey. I remember.
Are we doing the show together?
It's crazy, I know, right?
Whoa.
On the other side, we'll get into some World Series baseball right here on 102.5 The Game. Back here on 102.5 The Game on Next Man Up, Nick Frazier, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Come back a little Michael Jackson.
Have you ever heard of Friday Night Videos?
Maybe.
Okay, so back when I was a little baby sportscaster as a teenager, there was a show on in the 80s called Friday Night Videos. You had Saturday Night Live on NBC, but the night before you had Friday Night Videos, which came on at 10:30 or 11:30, and it played videos, but they always debuted the new big videos. And like when this came out and Thriller, I mean, it was appointment programming. It was a real music videos used to be a really big thing.
Yeah,
because they were new and interesting. I mean, MTV came out when music videos first started, and they were like, yeah, this is the future. Like, what are you talking about? And well, that future came and went. I mean, then there's no more videos.
Yeah. I remember when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, MTV would just rotate music videos. They'd have like a top 50. It would rotate for the whole hour, and they played over.
Well, when it first came on, it was music videos, and then a little bit of news would be splashed in there, and then they started doing programming, and all of a sudden it was like all programs and no videos.
Oh,
and
wow.
is MTV even exist anymore?
I think it's still a brand, obviously. I'd say it's on cable television.
Yeah.
I'd have to double check on that one. I'll look at that in the break. But yeah, I want to get your thoughts on World Series baseball last night. Dodgers kind of had a dud. Ohtani cooled off after his.
He only gave up 2 on the mound, though.
Yeah.
He gave them a solid start, which when you're talking about maybe the best hitter in the game, to give you a solid 6 strikeout performance on the mound is pretty incredible. Look, when you ask me about this World Series, if the Dodgers can win it and Shohei Ohtani, I mean, it's really stamping him as one of the greatest of all time. I know not everybody agrees with that. He's the best baseball player I've ever seen. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. He's the best baseball player in my lifetime.
I agree. I mean, I'm younger than you, but I agree.
He's 6'3", he's 210. I think he's got 39 career wins on the mound. But if he just dedicated himself to being a starting pitcher, I think he's a 15 to 20 win guy.
Yeah.
But instead, he pitches. I mean, he's been hurt, so that's cooled off his pitching numbers some. But I mean, he's a devastating hitter. He steals bases. I mean, he does everything well. Everything well. Strikes out a lot, but everybody strikes out a lot now. That's the game now. And he turned in the greatest single baseball game performance of all time to get the Dodgers in the World Series.
Incredible.
And so, I mean, this is kind of a coronation. You know, we had the 2 home runs the other night. I mean, and I'll tell you, I watched last night just to watch him. I mean, and I watched for Mookie Betts too, because he's the local guy, Max Muncy. But, you know, watching Ohtani, I was like, I want to see him pitch. I want to see him hit. I want to watch this.
It's appointment television.
Yeah. And I haven't said that about a baseball player in a long time. But I was like, because I had the Preds game on, and normally I would just watch the Preds game.
Right.
Okay. Because that's kind of my job.
Yeah. Probably.
But I was like, all right, we're going 2 TVs tonight. We're gonna have them both on, and my focus was on watching that big guy just throw ridiculous wiffle balls on the mound.
It blows my mind how the Dodgers. We talked about building teams before the break, and just how they've structured this team to being a true powerhouse.
Well, they were committed to it. They said, we are going to spend whatever it takes to put the best players on this team.
And they made all their money back in the first year for Ohtani, which is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. You get what you pay for, man.
Absolutely. And you go look at the Blue Jays roster right now. They have Ernie Clement. I mean, you're just looking at a spring training roster compared to a powerhouse team.
And look, they got some good players.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Springer's really good. And,
yes.
And Vlad Jr.'s really good.
Bo Bichette's back.
Bo Bichette is back. He's not 100%, but he has been a really good. I mean, the Blue Jays aren't there by accident.
Right.
All right. Now, they don't have the payroll of the Dodgers. Okay. I mean, shoot, you can talk about Ohtani and Betts, and you still haven't even gotten to
Oscar Hernandez
or Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
I mean, Freddie Freeman won an MVP too, last I saw.
That's true.
So, I mean, you know, they're absolutely loaded. Their pitching staff has taken a step back. It's hard to get all of it right. But by the way, another great part of this series is you really wanted a redemption for Clayton Kershaw. You really did. Just an all-timer, just a great pitcher. To see him come in, whatever inning that was, get that out.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
huge.
That was. I mean, if that's the last time we see him pitch, that's a much better memory than we had in the NLCS.
Absolutely. Your thoughts? What do you think? Who wins? It's tied up now.
I just think the Dodgers find a way.
Okay.
I think they're used to winning. I think they're used to winning, and they got to get Mookie Betts going. I expect them to lower him in the order some. He's been hitting behind Ohtani.
Yes, at 2. Yeah.
I think they could flip it and put Ohtani behind him and maybe get him some better pitches to hit instead of worrying about Ohtani and pitching around.
Right.
They're not going to want to walk him with Ohtani behind him.
Right.
And so I think those are your choices, to put Ohtani behind him or move him down in the order, but they got to get him going. They need to score more runs. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond. We can talk about they need to score more runs. Series is still tied 2-2.
Exactly.
Series is still tied 2-2. And they know, I don't think a lot of people expected them to get there, and they just keep winning because that's what they do.
Indeed, winning mentality. Hey, Corey, appreciate the hour we were together. That's pretty crazy.
All right, thanks for being here.
Crazy. Hey,
right.
Folks, appreciate it. On the other side, you got a Chase and Big Joe show next on 102.5 The Game.